Welcome to the RotoWire Week 1 live sit, stream. Glad you're here today. No real weather issues other than be careful with the Jacksonville, Carolina game with the humidity, especially in the second half of those games. Could be a real factor. Often for the visiting teams, we see them kind of wilt in the second half. So something to be just cognizant of there. Not that it's a deal breaker for any big ideas. Christian McCaffrey, as you know, is probably a game time decision today. It's a late afternoon kickoff. What I will tell you is this: if he's active, I'm recommending that people play him because I don't think even if he plays, 30 snaps, then I don't know, how you leave him out of your lineup. And the other thing is, do you really think San Francisco is going to risk their season on losing him in week 1 for a long, long time if they think there's a serious chance for aggravation? And maybe there is, but it's really hard to see them just going in and saying, you know what, we'll take our chance for the whole season and blow out his leg in week 1. It's tough to see that. I could be wrong. It'd be really short-sighted on their part, so think about that. What I'll recommend is this: based on your lineup configurations, you have 4 late afternoon games, including some 49ers game. You have a night game tonight, a night game on Monday. So you do have 6 possible games to pull players from for McCaffrey. Make sure you have a ready replacement. If you have 2 running backs let's say you have in the flex right now, and maybe you're starting 3 running backs, 2, and so move the other running backs into the running back spot, move McCaffrey into the flex in case you need to sub in a receiver or a tight end for McCaffrey. That is definitely something you need to consider there. Otherwise, injuries, don't forget Christian Kirk is out today. I know a lot of people just maybe bump up the other wide receivers, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. What I'll say is Dalton Kincaid, week 1, Dalton Schultz, player I'm not enamored with, but Dalton Schultz certainly could see significant targets in place of Kirk. So don't be surprised if Dalton Schultz, a player, again, wasn't really drafted in a lot of leagues, but he could actually have some value this week. Jordan Addison, a 2-game suspension. Darren Waller, good luck getting him on the field. He won't be around. Chris Godwin, we won't see him until October, likely. They ruled him out, obviously. All right, let's get to some questions here. I see I had a super chat, Quan, so we'll get that right away. Thomas C. asks us, PPR, need to, and I got to put these on the screen. I wonder how I can get that on the, let me give you a second to get these on the screen. This should be showing up there. Let's see. Let me see here. All right, here we go. Click it. There we go. Been a long time out of practice here. All right, you need PPR 2 running backs. You got Swift, you got Pollard, Breece Hall, J.K. Dobbins. All good options, obviously. We know the Bears are playing the Vikings Monday night. Overall, not an overpowering run defense. Bears probably come in a little pass happier. Pollard, we don't like the matchup, but I think he could catch a lot of passes if they trail because they don't really have much. Khalil Mullings is banged up. We know Spears on IR. Breece Hall, look, it's a tough matchup with Pittsburgh, but he could catch a lot of passes. Dobbins, we still need to see the role there. I know they list him as a starter, but him and Harvey, 2-man show. I would say this. I would say Pollard and Hall would be my 2 players I would go with there. If you're worried about the matchup with Pollard, I would think that Swift has the highest floor if you want to sub out for him. Otherwise, if you want to go with Hall and a boom bust, aside from probably, again, if you don't like the Denver matchup, then you could consider Dobbins. But again, for me, it's Hall and Pollard. Another super chat. Demetrios, welcome back. The rate your team, Prescott and Goff. Again, don't worry about Prescott's game the other day. Everything was working. CD dropped a couple of passes. After that weather delay, everything kind of went stale. They were moving the ball fine through the air. Pickens had a long DPI. Prescott's fine. Goff is a great number 2. Achane, Chase Brown, Stevenson, and Benson. As long as Achane's calf holds up, which we expect and hope it will, there's no re-injury, you're in great shape. Chase Brown, ADP shot up all offseason, so you got a great 1-2 punch. Stevenson, I do think gets more work than many expect, so I think it's a solid number 3. And Benson, we'll see his role. I just think Connor is going to be more of the 1-2 instead of the 1A, 1B. But Benson, again, Connor misses some time, so you're good there. Lamb, Hill, Flowers, Pickens, and Diggs. Again, I love the Pickens and Lamb idea here. There are weeks there could be weeks if Dallas has a rough game, you're going to have that trio. So that might be a week where you got to consider if it's a real tough matchup, subbing up, but you got Diggs, Hill, and Flowers. You're in good shape there. And Njoku and Ingram's a real nice 1-2 punch. As long as Flacco's the quarterback, I would leave Njoku in. And then defense, Bengals kicker I don't do kickers, so yeah, Bengals and defensive kickers are. But if you could upgrade the Bengals defense, I would. I don't think they get many takeaways and sacks this year. They have Hendrickson, but that's that. Sideshow Mill, you did put in a super chat, but you didn't add a question. So please see if you can add a question somehow for me. Mr. Trey Sarah saying, we do the super chat questions first. Appreciate those that donate to RotoWire to allow that to happen. We answer them all, but those get to the front of the line, obviously. Full point PPR, Ridley, I get that same question. Alan Soslowski, RotoWire, asked me that one this morning. So here's the deal. Ridley does have a tough matchup, a brutal matchup, you could say. And Cam Ward, it's his first game, and we know Denver sending pressure. I still have to say, I remember last year, Ridley had a game, I think it was against the Jets, and I thought, he's done in this one. And he had a big game. I don't remember what it was, but I know he scored a touchdown. He had yardage. If Denver gets out to a big lead, which I think they will, Ridley could be a big deal here late. Garbage time could pile up. Now, Hunter, again, they list him as almost a full-time offensive player today, so that'll change week to week. So I would think Hunter may have a safer floor than Ridley here, but I still think Ridley has the boom bust play. So if you're an underdog in your game, Ridley would have the upside. Hunter, I do think, is going to get a stable 5 to 6 targets. I don't know if it goes much more than that, but it still is not a bad target. I don't think he's like a 9 target guy. We don't see many of those. Those are usually just your elite guys. Brian Thomas Jr., I think there. So that said, yeah, Ridley be your boom bust, and Hunter would be your floor play, I think, because Ridley could have a scary floor here. All right, right now, those are the super chat as they come in. I will get those done. And see, Julian, you got Sutton, Moore, or Ibuka. DJ Moore, I still have to think he's going to be weaponized heavily in this offense. And Ben Johnson knows Minnesota very well from coaching against him for years. All three are nice plays. I am going to default to Moore here because I believe even though they call Odunze the X, is a figurative thing. It's not like he's like the number one guy. Moore has to be the number one here. I trust DJ Moore. Sutton, again, if they get a lead, they might run a lot here. They might not need him. Ibuka, I still would trust DJ Moore with the coaching. Ibuka is going to be certainly involved here, but I think it's a lot of Mike Evans in this one. And so the uncertainty of Ibuka, just give me DJ Moore on that. Full PPR, Garrett Wilson, Debo Samuel, or Ricky Pearsall. Garrett Wilson is going to get all the targets he can handle. We know defense are going to double him, but that's nothing new. Other than when Adams was there last year, he's seen that most of his career. So I don't think that's any great shakes. So I think he gets plenty of passes. Debo should get a lot of catch and run opportunities against the Giants. I don't know how full health McLaurin is, but it is something to think about. And then Ricky Pearsall, of course, a great training camp. Seattle does have some good corners. Reek Woolen on the outside. He's up and down. But then when he kick inside, Devin Witherspoon's there. Pearsall plays both. So it's not the greatest of matchups. I think your best floor play here is Garrett Wilson. And I for ceiling, I don't know that anyone has a greater ceiling than the other. So I would default to Garrett Wilson. Harvey or Ford. Tough one here. Team lists Dobbins as a starter. We know Harvey's going to be involved. The Tennessee matchup is not scary, but I think Ford is going to be heavily involved as a pass catcher. I expect my game script prediction is since he plays with a lead. And in that case, that means the Browns are going to have to throw, and Joe Flacco's up to that. But I think Ford's going to be heavily involved when the pass rush is coming. He's going to be the outlet. Dylan Sampson's there, but I really expect that we're going to see a lot of Jerome Ford. So I think Ford is a more stable option given the potential game script here. If your gut says Harvey, you drafted Harvey. You may have invested a significant draft pick him. If your gut says Harvey, go with it because Jerome Ford's not like the inevitable player, but I do think game script wise, he's more involved. But again, this one is a gut call on that one. It's like 51-49 on that. All right. Next one, Julian, you're loading me up with questions here. Ted McMillan, Jameson Williams, Ibuka. I think the highest target floor is Ted McMillan here. I think he has the highest. So in Jacksonville's corners, and they're really not scaring me right now. So I think McMillan would have the floor of this group. Ibuka's really close, but I think McMillan is going to be obviously the number one in the pecking order of targets, even though the quarterback plays not so good. Ibuka is a much better quarterback. Jameson Williams, your boom bust play. Green Bay does not have good corners, but I don't know how much Micah Parsons plays, and that's what we don't know. The more Parsons plays, the more pressure Goff gets. They challenge that interior that's overhauled. So, but Williams can make a big player too. So if you want a high floor, I go with McMillan. If you think you're an underdog in this game and you need the potential for a big game, then you got to swing for defensive JMO. All right, Rahendra, All right. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you. Means a lot. Two of these four: Ibuka, McMillan, Garrett Wilson, and Waddle. So we said earlier we're going to go with Garrett Wilson, that he's been double teamed most of his career, other than the Adams days for half a season last year. So he's used to that. So I think Garrett Wilson's just fine here. And don't forget Justin Fields. Remember, he did really well when he had DJ Moore, so he can lock on an alpha. He's not a good quarterback. And it's funny, we're going to have a lot of these McMillan and Ibuka questions today for sure, but that's good. That's what we're here for, right? And then Jalen Waddle. I have to think with Jalen Waddle, remember, Jonnu Smith's gone. Their backup plan, Darren Waller, he's not playing. You can't throw to A-Chan all day. And against Indy, I don't think they have to. So I do think Jalen Waddle's going to get a good number of targets here, but he's risky because of last year, and we're not sure how they're going to use him. So I think McMillan has the best floor of the remaining ones. So Garrett Wilson, McMillan for floor. But if you want to go boom bust and shoot for the moon, Waddle could have that game today. I'm not saying he will, but he can have that game. Mike McDaniel, if he has any new tricks, you're going to see him in week one. So Wilson again, Waddle for boom bust, and McMillan for floor. Ibuka's close, of course. Kevin, PPR, you need one of Monty. Oh, by the way, before I get on, James Koh comes in here about 45 minutes before kickoff. We'll be on a couple minutes together, and then James will take down the rest of the questions after I'm out. But I'll be here for a good hour and 10 minutes or so today. But yeah, James Koh, a little tag team. Tag in. We're next. All right, Kevin, PPR, you need one of David Montgomery, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs. So Montgomery, the one thing we're going to have to see with him, and this is one of my big week one things I got to watch out for, like how that interior line works for the Lions being completely revamped, and Montgomery can run outside, but he's more of an interior runner, and he's benefited from that great blocking. So it's a little questionable as to what we're going to get. And I think that's why Monty's ADP fell. I think Waddle is going, as I said earlier, Waddle will be pretty heavily involved. Stephon Diggs is an interesting game because it's his first game. We know he's practiced all preseason, but we really don't know what his true explosiveness is like coming off the ACL at late 31 years old. So I think we can wait on Diggs. So I think we put it between Monty and Waddle. And I'll say this, Monty should have a pretty good floor. He has probably a 40% chance of scoring a touchdown, which is high. And that's a big deal. So I think Monty's your floor play. But like I said earlier in the last listener, that Waddle is your boom bust play. He's the one if you want to shoot for the big game. That's one. Because I don't know that Monty has a big game in this one here. All right, see what we got here. Adam Schefter, McCaffrey says will play today. I gotta reopen X to see what that was, but I just saw the notification. Let me clear this because this is important. So I have to jump off to this real quick and see what we got here. All right. This is per Schefter. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey was added to the injury report Thursday with the calf issue. Will play versus the Seahawks. He's good to go. And this is important. So I'm going to stall out on this question from him. I said this at the top of the show, but I'm going to repeat this. I don't believe the 49ers are dumb enough to put in a player that's likely to have a setback. If they view it as a less than 10% chance, then maybe that's it. But my guess is it might have been some calf tightness because they can't risk their entire season. They know their season's over if McCaffrey suffers a long-term injury. In week one, cannot see it. So I am starting McCaffrey as I normally would. I'm not blinking. If you drafted him probably in the first round, unless you drafted in the middle of the summer and you got him in the second. You can't sit him. You just cannot sit him, in my opinion. That's where I stand on that. If you're in an 8-team league, all right, a few of you are. All right, now you might have a roster of superstars, and you might be able, but most of us in 12-team leagues, that's not even a starter. All right, Kev, let's get back to you here. You have PPR. You got J.J. McCarthy, Justin Fields. All right, let's get that one first. So again, McCarthy, we've never seen. The Jalen Johnson for the Bears looks like he's going to play. That's a big deal. No Jordan Addison. I do think that we're going to see the Vikings come in trying to run the ball, ease McCarthy in. Fields, it's a terrible matchup. He's going to run. So I still have to think Fields is going to get you 65 yards on the ground with a chance of scoring. I think Fields is the safe floor play here. But I think that if you got to, I don't think Fields can have a monster game here. I could be wrong. If he breaks 270 yards runs, I'm wrong. I don't think it'll happen. So I think if you got to go boom bust here, then you got to consider McCarthy, because if somehow this game opens up and goes shootout, then McCarthy would have a shot. But I'd be more inclined to take, even if it's like a low floor, I'm not a low floor. It's like a reasonable floor. I think I would rather have a reasonable floor because I know Fields going to run. So I would go down. And then you need 2 from Adams, Monty, Warren, Mason, and Higgins. Higgins for sure. I cannot sit him. Cleveland, look, they got Myles Garrett, but Denzel Ward slipped the last couple of years. He's not what he was. Emerson's out for the season. Not going to sit Higgins. I think I would play Warren as my second. They're committing saying he's their number 1 guy. They need their feature back. That's what they're saying. And I think there's no reason to dispute that right now. And the Jets are not a good run defense. They're okay. They're better than they were last year, but they're just okay. Adams, we love Adams. But I think for week 1, if you got a good shot with Warren, I think you consider it. Because the one thing I worry about with Adams is that Stafford missed all that preseason time, and a lot of those throws are chemistry throws. And I don't know if they'll have that week 1. And it's a brutal matchup. Not that Adams cares, because Adams could beat anybody, but you put in the brutal matchup, the pass rush, and the lack of preseason time. So I would just take Warren and Higgins, but Adams can have a game here. So if you want to go for upside and risk a low floor, then you could sub in Adams for Warren. I'd leave Monty and Mason out of that one. All right, I got another super chat here. Then I got to come back to Unite Santini after that. All right, Henry, you have got PPR, Flex, Sutton, Pollard, and then Bowers or Ted. Okay, so the Sutton Pollard one, I know Sutton was heavily targeted in the preseason game, and I know he's their number 1. But remember, Sutton's targets dropped off after week 14 when they started involving Marvin Mims last year. And now they got Evan Ingram, and now they got a running game. They had no running game last year. And I predict the game script to be Denver gets in control of this game early, and I don't know how much they have to throw. And I don't know if Sean Payton will throw just to throw. If they can, grind down a team, they might just do that. So I think Sutton is risky. He could have a big game, but I think he's risky because they might not need him a lot. Pollard, yeah, it's not a good matchup. I like the fact for him that Drake Greenlaw, the linebacker, is out, because that's like a thumper presence that this team needs. Pollard could catch a lot of passes if they're in trail mode. And I think that's why I like Pollard here, because I think, and he showed last year in some bad matchups. His line's upgraded, might take time to gel, but he was good in bad matchups. So I'd give Pollard the edge. Bowers or Tet, you know what? You drafted Bowers, probably is the first tight end off the board, and you drafted him because you believe he is an elite player. Tet McMillan is certainly a player that's gotten a lot of hype, and he may be a great player, and maybe he is week 1. But I think it'd be overthinking it to go away from Bowers, who has just been Superman since he came into the league last year. So I think unless you have a reason to sit Bowers, which we don't against New England, then I think we go with Brock Bowers. All right, and I go to Unite Santini. Morning to you as well. PPR, Monty or Jameson Williams. This is just a basic floor versus upside question. Monty's get 40% chance of scoring a touchdown. He'll get interior carries. Green Bay is a good run defense, but they're not anything like lights out. So there's a good floor with Monty. Jameson Williams, like I said, I don't know how much Micah Parsons plays, but that interior line is going to be tested, and Goff getting the ball downfield is going to be a problem. I don't trust the scheming with the new coach yet, but Williams has immense upside. So if you wanted to swing for your fence, it's Williams. If you want the bank to save points and say, you know what, I'm a favorite in my game, or I'm close, I just want to make sure I don't bonk that, then you go with Monty on that one. And then you got half PPR, Harvey or Monty. Same deal. We don't really know what Harvey's role is yet. So I think there's a little bit of an issue with that. So I think Monty, the floor play, Harvey is explosive. We know he's explosive. And if he gets opportunity, but if they get a lead, I really think Dobbins is probably the closer back. So Harvey might have to get his damage done early if the game goes as I think, which I think Denver does win fairly easily. So I'm going to say Monty for floor, Harvey for boom bust. And then Myers or Hunter. Myers was unhappy, but look, at the end of the day, he was last year when Adams got, he was at 9+ targets in almost every game. And there's no reason to think that changes. And I know both teams want to run the ball, but it's like Bowers and it's Myers. And I mean, you throw occasional deep shot to Dante Thornton, but he's not going to be a regular piece of the meal. So Jacoby Myers not only has a floor, but the ceiling's decent as well. I don't put much into the revenge game against New England, but there could be a little boost there, but maybe not. But I give Myers the edge here, because I know in the worst case scenario, usually it's a minimum of 6 targets. I think that's his floor, but it's more than that. And he's got a better quarterback. I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers here. So anyway, there's that. Julian, CMC, Tracy, Swift, Power. CMC, like I said, I'm not benching him. You'd have to have an 18 league to bench him, I think. And I'm gonna, what, Tracy's a nice one here because they seem, from what we know, all information we have is that right now he's starting week 1 as the guy. And against Washington, it's an old defense. They're not a good defense. They're overrated. They were not great last year. They were in shootouts regularly. So I think Tracy is your next play. Swift doesn't really have the ceiling here. Pollard is close. He's really close with Tracy, but I think Tracy's going to be in a better game script where I think Tracy, regardless whether they trail, if they're close, I think Tracy's involved throughout. And again, I think his matchup is better. Do I like that left tackle Andrew Thomas is doubtful? No, but but that said, I do think that Tracy, this is a 1 week where I would put him over Pollard, and that's not often. This is not a great match. Pollard could catch passes, but so can Tracy. All right. Ethan, good morning to you as well. You need one to PPR. You need Tillman, Braylon Allen, or Dylan Sampson. You know what? I am going to go with Cedric Tillman here. I expect that Cincinnati, remember, Cincinnati stunk the first few weeks of the season for years, but they've been healthy this offseason. They practice them. They've used them in preseason games. I think they realize Cincinnati does how important it is. You cannot drop an early season game again. You've been doing this. You cost yourself the playoffs. So I think they come out on full throttle. And I think that means that Cleveland's going to chase. I don't think the Cincinnati defense can stop anybody. Now, maybe later in the season, Al Golden gets those younger guys galvanized. I don't see that in week 1. Trey Hendrickson, fine. One man, great. But Flacco's getting it out here. I think Tillman's going to be part of the attack here. Braylon Allen, it's a bad matchup, and he's the second running back. I know everybody wants to say it's 50-50. I don't think it's that. But even so, bad matchup. Dylan Sampson, I think Ford is going to be more trusted, especially early in the season. Especially, and everybody I read a report this morning, Judkins could play next week. I'm going to see if I can find that for you. So as Adam Schefter reports, there's a real possibility and likelihood that Judkins plays week 2 against the Ravens. That's per Schefter, and I always trust that. So that said, I do think for this week, then Jerome Ford is kind of the guy because they don't have to groom Sampson to be more than what he was supposed to be. Which he may be. Again, I won't go too long on that. Let's just move on to the next question. All right. Oh, I got another super chat here. Let's get to the next super chat here. And then we'll come back to Ethan's next question. All right. Hey, Scott. All right. You got Debo or Tyrone, Tracy, flex, PPR. This is a good question. Same game. I do think Debo is going to get a lot of catch and run up opportunities here. I do think, as I said to the earlier question, I do think this is a good week to play Tracy. Tracy was great when he was fresh last year. After the 5 games of heavy usage, his yards per carry went from 5.4 to 3.4. But I think early on when he's fresh, I think he's really good. And the Washington defense is old and slow. And I think Tracy's in a good spot here. I do like Debo. I like him very much. But I think Tyrone Tracy is going to be a safer play here. I have him by running back 16th this week because of the matchup. And so, yeah, that's a pretty aggressive ranking. But I do think it's merited. Debo is my wide receiver 31. So, yeah, I give Tracy the edge for floor, and I think they both have similar ceiling. They both could do really well in this game. All right, let's go back here, and we got Ethan's second question. You got 2 of these, Hubbard, Garrett Wilson, Swift, or Golden. So I don't have any concerns with the Hubbard matchup against Jacksonville. And the talk that Hubbard's going to see less work, well, duh. Yeah, I mean, this wasn't duh to you. It's duh to the community that said it. The coach is like, he's going to get less work. Of course he's getting less work because they never intended him to get that much work last year, but they had nobody else. Sanders was hurt. So Hubbard's going to get a good baseline, though. You're looking at 15 touches. And Jacksonville's not a scary proposition. The heat in Jacksonville, that could be an issue late in the game. I think Hubbard is fine here. And Garrett Wilson has a great floor. And matchup may be bad, but he's seen that his whole career, and he's seen bad quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with those 2. Golden, I don't want to deal with that Detroit secondary, all 5 of them. I want anything to do with all 5 of those guys. That's a brutal matchup, and Aiden Hutchins is going to be causing some havoc. And DeAndre Swift, again, nice play, but not in this class, I don't think. All right, Chris, happy week 1, half PPR, 2 out of the 4. Abuka, Pearsall, Swift, Tracy. You heard me talk about Tracy. I do have him pretty highly ranked this week. On those who are looking at the sheet here, if you're not used to this from last year in the past, the red means I have him ranked properly, but it's added downside. And I see I have that for Wilson, wide receiver 14, but I could see him finishing as a wide receiver 20, which still isn't bad. The green means added upside. And then, yeah, those are the 2 things. Those are the means added upside. The ranking is good, but there's something to factor in here. All right, Chris. So Tracy, I'm in on, as you heard earlier, and now it comes between. I think Swift has a very nice floor from these remaining players, and I think Ibuka might be the ceiling play out of these groups. Pearsall, again, he's either going to see, if he's on the outside, he might see a lot of Reek Woolen. If he's on the inside, he might see some Devin Witherspoon. McCaffrey's going to play. I think Kittle's going to be heavily involved. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a tougher matchup. So I think your boom bust play is Ibuka, your floor play is Swift, and I'm putting Tracy in the lineup if it's me. Yeah, Chris, and here you go. You got Olave, Pittman, or Golden. You know what? I know Olave has a garbage quarterback, but I think Olave is going to be just fine here. I think Arizona is going to be able to put some points up. I know they're on the road, and I know they're Arizona. I get it. But Olave is a short and intermediate guy, and Rattler can make those throws. And I think Olave is going to get you 5+ catches here. So I think he's the safest in this group. And look, Olave's career, when he gets 6 or more catches, he's like a lock for 80 yards. So while he's healthy, you drafted him cheaper because of the concussions, but he doesn't have a concussion today. So I think Olave is like really most weeks, he's like a wide receiver too. So for me, he's the clear one. Chris, good morning. And let's see. I appreciate you. Yeah, we'll be having James. Yeah, James Koh will be on here. He'll come on about a little less than an hour from now. So he'll tag team in for me so we can get everybody up to kickoff, which is a nice addition to the show. James is great, and it'd be nice also to have him so we can get all the way to kickoff. So late questions come in. We never left anybody out before, but it'll be even better. All right. So you need a running back, a receiver 4, and a flex. You need 3 of these. Tracy Ford, Mayflowers, I can be Zayflowers. Okay. And Myers, Downs, and Tillman. You got a good problem to have here. So the running back, I do like Tracy here. You heard me earlier. I like Ford, but I'd like Tracy more. I think there's more volume for him. And regardless of game script, he should be involved. And then normally I'm not a Zay Flowers guy, but this week I think with Patrick Ricard out, with Isaiah Likely out, they can't play the heavy personnel. They got Charlie Kohler, but that gives them a maximum of 2 big bodies. I think they're going to have to change their offense up here. And I think that's going to allow the Bills to play a little more of their usual nickel. So I think Flowers underneath is a good play here. And then, you know what? Myers is too good of a floor play to pass on. Myers, like I said, you heard me say earlier, once Adams got traded last year, he was getting like 9+ targets in most games. And I think his floor is 6 targets. Love Downs, love Tillman, but I think Myers' floor is great. I think this is a flaw. You drafted Flowers somewhat aggressively. This is a week where I think you count on him because I season long, I worry about his role. Not today. I don't. Tonight, I should say. Chris, you need a wide receiver 2 and a flex out of these 3. Pollard, Henderson, and Ibuka. So I would say, I receive 2 and a flex. So one has to be a receiver. Well, so basically you have to play Ibuka then. So Ibuka's automatically because you need a receiver. And then you need a flex, Pollard or Henderson. I think Pollard is going to be a safe floor play here because he is like the guy right now. Spears on the IR for a short period. And I think he gets catches even if he has to. Henderson is your shoot for the moon guy. He's had a great preseason. We really don't know what his role is. We know the matchup is soft, but we really don't know what the camp hype makes us think he's going to be the guy. I think Stevenson has a role. So Pollard's your floor play. Henderson is your boom bust. And so if you believe that he's going to be the by far clear number 1 and Stevens is going to be an afterthought, then Henderson, you got to consider that. I think it's going to be a lot more of a split than we think. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, and I have nothing to base that on other than they're paying Stevenson starter money. Chris, 2-week DST rental between the Rams, 49ers, and Seahawks. I don't have the week 2 schedule in front of me. So for this week of those 3, I do like the 49ers because Darnold's the quarterback and that great run scheme they have. Well, guess what? That's Shanahan taught that scheme. So I think they know how to defend it. So for this week, I'll say 49ers. I have no idea who's playing in week 2 yet. I'll get to week 2 on Wednesday or Tuesday. All right, Henry. Morning to you as well. Yep. Did I answer these already? No. Okay. No, I don't think I did. All right. Oh, I see. I got the spam down there. Great. Beautiful. All right. Pollard or Sutton. I answered that. I could have sworn I answered that. All right. So we're just going to say Pollard and Bowers. And Pollard for floor, Sutton for boom bust. You drafted Bowers as a first-round pick probably, and you believe in him. And if you believe in him, this matchup should not scare you away. So you got to go with him. Tom, PPR need a flex, Swift or Flowers? Ooh. Like I said, the matchup for Flowers this week, I think with Ricard and Likely out, I think Flowers has to be really involved in this game. That's my opinion. Swift is going to get carries. He's going to get you 14 carries. He's going to get you a couple catches probably. So I guess the auto safe floor would be Swift because there is risk with Flowers, but I think Flowers is going to be involved here. That's my opinion. So trust your gut, but I would start Flowers in this one because I think he has to be involved. And I assume playing Buffalo, there's going to be points scored in this one. But Swift is a very safe floor play. So if you want like no risk, I think Swift is like a no risk high floor play. I don't think there's much of a ceiling though. Jay, appreciate you, man. Thanks for being back. Pearsall, Warren, Tucker, Kraft. You know, the Jets were a horrible run defense last year. Salah's gone after they lost him. The team fell apart. But I think they're going to be decent, but they're not going to be a good run defense. And Pittsburgh's going to commit to the run. You know that with Arthur Smith. They're going to load up the tight ends and get an extra running back, but they're going to bludgeon you. So I think right now, since they're on saying Warren is the guy, then I think you got to trust that right now. You got to say if he gets 15 touches, then I think he's able to beat all these guys. So I think I'm going to go with Jaylen Warren based on the knowledge we have. And that's what we'll have to go with there. Mayfield or May. It's interesting because that Atlanta-Tampa game, I could see going a lot of ways. I could see both teams saying, you know what? We're going to run the ball. We don't want to deal with the Todd Bowles blitz, so we don't want to expose Penix, so we'll run. And I could see Tampa Bay saying, no Tristan Wirfs at left tackle. We don't want to expose Baker to unneeded hits, so we could run the ball. But I also see this as an NFC South game that could go off the script and be a shootout. So Mayfield is your wild card. There is a low floor, but there's a really high ceiling because if this goes nuclear, you've seen Mayfield do that. I think Drake May, because he runs, I think this is a high floor game. I think he gives you a better floor than Mayfield. But if you've got to swing for some upside and you're going to, if you see the game script being back and forth, and that's a real question, right? But I think that's yet your play. Mayfield's your boom bust. May is your floor play. Daniel, Pitts, Strange, or Taylor? Yeah, so with Pitts, we never know the usage, right? We keep hearing, and every year we hear, and then every year we see. So Brenton Strange kind of had a couple nice games last year. We don't really know his role in the new offense, but we do know it's a pretty friendly offense. And I think because they really don't have a clear, true wide receiver 3, I think Strange is involved. Mason Taylor, I love, but I got to see it. And I don't think this is the best matchup to start the season. I would be inclined to say Strange would be your floor play here. And I don't know I can predict any of these players have a ceiling. So that's what I would lean on that. Disco Dave, morning you as well. Whenever 20 yards, 2-point bonus, 100 yards. Chris Rodriguez or Jaden Higgins? Jaden Higgins, Chris Rodriguez is going to, per the coach, Dan Quinn, he's their goal line and short yardage back. And there could be touchdowns against the Giants, but it's hard to predict a touchdown, right? Because Jaden Daniels might run it in. Jaden Higgins with Kirk out, it's a very clear wide receiver too, although I think Dalton Schultz will be involved as a tight end. So, but all that said, corners are small for the Rams. And if they bring heat, I think getting it out, Higgins could see some work here. I think Higgins is more likely to be involved regularly in the game plan, whereas Chris Rodriguez, we're not quite sure. And I think you really need a touchdown to catch. That's really hard to predict. So for that reason, I would lean Higgins. Julian, I swore you asked this already. DJ Moore. Yeah, guys, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if you ask a question, I'll get to you. Don't re-ask the question because I will get back. And I'm not saying Julian did. You may not have. But if you did, please don't re-ask questions. All right. Oh, we're about half past the hour. Is inactive. I don't think there's any inactive we're really worried about here. Bucks without Chris Godwin recovers with second surgery on his ankle. This time to tighten up the hardware. So that was important. Ian Rappaport just posted that. It was to tighten up the hardware. So that's probably a good thing. So when Godwin's back, I think, based on the injury and the time to recover, and the surgery being to clean up the hardware, I think when he's back, I think he's close to a full go. Chris Rodriguez is a healthy and active today per Adam Schefter. So that we so going back to that question we answered like 1 minute ago, if I didn't even see it here. Oh, here we go. So Disco Dave, we just answered your question for you. It's Jaden Higgins because Chris Rodriguez is now inactive. All right. Josh, would I rather have Krosky, Merritt, or Brian Robinson? Well, Brian Robinson is clearly just a hedge on Christian McCaffrey. Because if McCaffrey is, if he's, like I said earlier, if he's playing today, the team is not considerably worried about a setback. They can't risk their season by putting him out in a meaningless week 1 game. Darnell Mooney inactive today. And I wondered about it. I told people all week, be careful. He has limited practice, but he's been dealing with a shoulder. Darnell Mooney inactive. Oh, out there. You need a quick waiver wire ad at wide receiver. You got 2 choices. Ray McCloud will be involved in 3 receiver sets already, but that might be more looks his way. And I don't think it's a great matchup, but if you are in a super deep league and you're desperate for whatever reason in week 1, Kadero Hodge probably steps into an outside role for what it's worth. Not a great player, but he had a couple looks last year and he did a little bit with them. But again, that's super deep league, Kadero Hodge. But I think the real recipient, though, I think Ray McCloud does see a couple extra targets, so he might have a little bit of a floor if you're in a real deep league. All right. So I'm going to go Krosky Merritt here because per the coaches, and Chris Rodriguez is inactive. So that tells us now Krosky Merritt is going to get the ball and Eckler's going to be the change of pace guy. So I think we get that. Brian Robinson is too tough. And again, Brian Robinson is a hedge. He's a hedge. So if you think McCaffrey's not going to make it, then you hit the jackpot. I don't think Krosky Merritt's a jackpot player, but I think he's a stable contributor each week. Okay, so there's that. All right, let's go next. All right, Ryan, 20-man league, Calvin Ridley, Matthew Golden, Josh Downs. So Ridley's boom bust because it's a real bad matchup, but I've seen him like last year against the Jets. He came out and played really well in that game. So boom bust. Golden, I don't want to mess with that Detroit 5-man secondary. I think it's a brutal matchup. I think the pass rush is going to be a problem. Josh Downs, always been the player who we know is like quarterback proof and playing Miami. Like talk about no corners, and their slot corner was Kader Kodu. He's out for the season. So I think that Josh Downs is always a great play. I think Josh Downs probably this week even with Daniel Jones, has a better floor than Ridley because of Ridley being in such a brutal matchup. But I think they both have upside. So based on that, I'm going to go with Josh Downs. I think the floor is better. If your gut says Ridley, I get it. Vita Vea is active for the Buccaneers, helps their run defense. Julian, going with Wilson. You know, I'm pretty sure you asked me all these, so I'm just going to buzz over yours. So there we go. JKM 83. All right, happy fantasy football season to you as well. You 2 or 3. Brees Hall, Monty, and Ibuka. So I'm going with Brees Hall here. I know the buzz has been negative on him, but he's going to catch passes if he has to too. And if Pittsburgh is a tough matchup, but again, I just think that week 1 he's as healthy as he's going to be, and I think Brees Hall is an elite player, and I think that even without the right guard, Vera Tucker, I think he's fine. Next one is a Montgomery for floor. Should have a safe floor. Ibuka's your boom bust play, though, because I think Ibuka could come in here and really, really contribute. But I also see a world where both of those teams run the ball today. So, again, go with Hall. Monty's your floor play. If you want to swing for ceiling, then Ibuka. Ridley or Downs, Chan. Somebody had a similar question with a third player in there. And I'm going to go with Josh Downs here because I think they both have similar ceilings, but I think Downs may have a higher floor here. Again, Miami has no cornerbacks. That's rough. Disco Dave, Drake May or Jordan Love, a point for every 25, 2 points at 100. All right. Jordan Love does not have a good matchup. Now he has a great coach who's going to scheme some players open. So there's that. Jaden Reed, I don't know if he's going to play, but he's clearly not 100%. I think Drake May has a higher floor and he's going to run. So I would give Drake May the edge for that. Now, if you think that Detroit game is going to shoot out with Green Bay, then Love would have more ceiling. I think that game is a little more conservative than people think. Nick Chubb will be the bell cow per Ian Rappaport. Nick Chubb's a good floor play against the Rams here. They're going to want to mitigate that pass rush for everybody out there. So Nick Chubb, if you're desperate, and you really have a bad option, Nick Chubb could be considered. I don't know what his yardage is going to be, but if he's going to get work here, this is a matchup that's decent at least. So Drake May for floor, Disco Dave. Jordan Love, if you're going to take a chance on a shootout, which I don't necessarily think is going to happen, but the line is fairly aggressive on it. So, all right. Richard, Crafter, Kincaid. I think that the Ravens have the personnel to really shut down a tight end if they want. I think Kraft is going to be schemed open as he always is, and he can't be the focal point of the defense. And I just said the safeties are brutally tough for the Lions, but they're good at scheming Kraft open. I'm giving Kraft the edge here. Oh, we got another super chat. Then I can come back to John. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got John, Charbonnet, Shaheed, or Ali Gordon. So with the talk is that Charbonnet is going to have a little more work, and the 49ers are not a problematic matchup in the running game. So there's that. I know they understand the run system, but Charbonnet, their personnel, not great. Shaheed, we don't know if he's going to be used downfield a lot because I don't know that his quarterback's able to get it there. Ali Gordon right now, I think with Achane healthy, we have to assume that Gordon's going to get a few touches. So I would just, since Shaheed is the clear starter and they're probably going to trail, and I would give Shaheed the edge in this one. All right, now let's go back to here. All right, and then we were on John's question. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Pearsall or Ibuka non-PPR. I'm going to give Ibuka a bit of an edge here. I think that both games could be moderate scoring, but I think Ibuka is the number 2 option. Could see some work here. Pearsall, Jennings is back. McCaffrey's playing. I think Kittle's going to be heavily featured. I think they're both solid plays here, but I would give Ibuka the edge because overall, I think it's an easier matchup. I think Pearsall, whether he's inside or outside, doesn't have the greatest matchup. So I think the cornerback matchup works a little bit better for Ibuka as well. John, Shaheed or Charbonnet? We're going to go Shaheed there. Somebody asked a similar question a moment ago. Bogrand, McCarthy, or Caleb Williams? You know what? Last time, Caleb Williams at home against Minnesota, the road game was rough, but he lit it up at home. And Ben Johnson knows that defense like the back of his hand. He knows how to scheme it up. I'm giving Williams the edge here. McCarthy's first game. We don't know what to expect. Got another super chat. We got Fabian. PPR, you need 2. Jennings, Tillman, Palmer, Harvey, or Bigsby. I am going to go with Tillman for sure. I think this game shoots out. I think Flacco is certainly capable of getting the short and intermediate receiver. Intermediate and deep receiver, which is Tillman. I think that there's real possibility for that. I think as a secondary one, this is a tough one. I think that we would take a look at Harvey here. I think because Palmer, I really don't know what his role is. And the corners for Baltimore are really upgraded this year. Jennings coming off the calf injury. I'm nervous about that. Bigsby, it's between Bigsby and Harvey. I think Harvey could catch a couple passes, and I think that's what separates the two for me. Because if he catches a couple passes, Bigsy's kind of like a 0 in the passing game. So it's a gut call on those two, but I would go with Harvey, and I definitely like Tillman in there. But I think that game's going to be very favorable for Tillman. All right, let's see where we're at here. And all right, we are on Kevin. All right, Kevin. So you got her, Catcher Queen. All right, just checking out the reports are here. The Rappaport and Schefter reports kind of pop up in the corner of my screen so I can keep an eye on anything that's important. Kevin, Judy or Ibuka? I think Jerry Judy's going to get a lot of targets here. I bet the prop over on his receptions. I think there's going to be a heavy pass game. They're going to have to score a lot of points. And I think Flacco is more than capable of getting him the ball. Ibuka, there's a lot of possible game scripts, but I just think that Browns one, I think they're going to have to throw. And then you got Henderson or Judy, Ibuka. So that's, you know what? Of the two remaining, Ibuka is probably a floor play because he should get 5 targets, you would think, in this one, and it could be more. Henderson, we really don't know his role, but I think he's your upside play. If you're going to go for big upside, I think Henderson in this matchup against the Raiders, we could see upside if he gets, but we don't really know how they plan on using him. It's all speculative, but we know Ibuka is going to be the number 2 receiver, so that's going to be involved. So Ibuka safer. Henderson, I think if you want to swing for ceiling, you kind of look that way. All right, let's see what we got next here. And okay. Trying to see where I left off last. Questions are kind of all right. All right, did I answer this one already? All right, we're good. Here we go. Bogran, Ibuka, Hunter, or Ridley. Ridley has the bad matchup, but he can do well. Ian Rappaport's pointing out that Xavier Hutchinson is going to play a lot today. He played a lot last year. This is for Houston with Kirk out. He played a lot last year, and he had opportunities, and he didn't do anything. I think he's a better blocker than a receiver. And like I said earlier, I think that Dalton Schultz is going to end up seeing more catches than anybody wants. So be careful on the Hutchinson stuff because he's had that opportunity. He didn't do anything with it. All right. So this is a real close one across the board on all 3 of these. I think Ridley is the boom bust one. I think that we saw him against the Jets last year. He had that game. And if they're trailing big, there could be garbage time. So Ridley could be, but he has a low floor because the matchup's brutal. I think I trust Ibuka as the safest play of these 3. I think that with Mayfield, he's a stable quarterback. And I think they, there's a lot of game scripts I said earlier that can go for that game. I think Ibuka is the safest one. Hunter's just a complete wild card. And we haven't seen this offense yet. There's nothing scary about the matchup at all. But I think with your other options, I would just kind of go with Ridley for boom bust or Ibuka for the safe floor. Robert, full PPR, you need a flex. ETN, Downs, Jennings, Otten, Strange, or Kraft. I'm giving Josh Downs the edge. Again, Miami really has no corners. Kohu, their slot, was out for the season, and that's where Downs kind of lives. I know Daniel Jones isn't good, but we've seen Josh Downs do it with like very little. ETN, I'm excited about him, but I want to see week 1 since you have other options. I don't think we need to make that investment. Could he have a big game? Yes, but are we going to bet on it? Maybe not. But we have Josh Downs. I think you got to go with Josh Downs, sir. Jordan, good morning. Thanks for being here. Sideshow Mill, all right, you need Waddle, Pearsall, or Downs. And again, I think Downs is your safest of these 3 with the secondary of Miami. I think that he shouldn't need a whole lot of opportunities to get it done. And I think I'm going to leave it there. Pearsall is a tougher matchup. Waddle, I like the concept. I hope they get him involved. But you got Downs, and we know he's going to be involved. Where Waddle is risky, but I think could Waddle get 10 catches here? Yes, he could. But I think we got it. So maybe Waddle is your boom bust. Maybe he has the biggest ceiling, but the unknown floor is a problem. Whereas I think Downs has a good floor and a moderate ceiling. So I'd play Downs, but consider Waddle. Consider Waddle here. Disco Dave. So I think we may have answered already. Jaden Higgins, Chris Rodriguez, inactive. Oh, maybe I answered this right. Maybe I'm just clicking in the wrong place. Robert, we're going with Downs there. We're going with Downs. And you need one of Otten, Strange, or Tucker Kraft. Otten came back from that injury pretty quickly. Now, when he ate last year, it was with no Godwin and no Evans. So I'm going to go Tucker Kraft. Secondary is brutal there, but he gets schemed open. So I'm going to go Tucker Kraft. Mayfield or May, Jay. Somebody had the same question, and it was May is your floor play, but Mayfield is your boom bust play, because if both teams run the ball, then he might not do a lot. But if this game shoots out, Mayfield can have a massive game. So Mayfield has a much larger ceiling, but May has a great floor because he probably runs as well. Roger, McCaffrey or Drake London? Oh, well, in this case, you know what? I'm going to go with Drake London because I'm not worried about the matchup with Tampa at all. He is going to get the targets among the receivers. Mooney's out. Not that I was worried about Mooney taking targets. It wasn't a problem. But why take the risk with McCaffrey? In this particular case, I said start McCaffrey, but you've got a first-round pick in Drake London. In my mind, he's a first-round pick. So, yeah, don't take the risk. Just take Drake London. McCaffrey has a great game. Say, beautiful, I've got you next week. But right now, take no chances that you need to. And this is not a chance. This is Drake London. So you're in great shape there. Jay, Pearsall, Warren, Tucker, Kraft. I'm going to go with Warren. I think the matchup is favorable. Not great, but it's favorable. I'm taking the coaches their word that he's going to be the lead back, and I think that gives him the highest floor of this group, and it may even give him the biggest ceiling. Richard, full PPR, Ridley, Debo, Jennings, bench one of these. So I want to play Debo in this because I do think underneath the way defenses probably are going to play Commanders the way they did late last season, they're going to drop coverage. And I think Debo's going to take a lot of those targets Zach Ertz had last year, a lot of the catch and run where Debo can actually run, or not much, but he can run better than Zach Ertz, who's like 39, 45, 52 years old, something like that. Of your other two, so Jennings is coming back from the injury, and the corner matchup isn't great. So I'm going to give Ridley the edge despite the horrific matchup because I just know he's healthy and there could be garbage time. So that's what I would kind of count on. Efren, half PPR, Stafford or Fields. I think this Houston Rams game could be really low scoring. Stafford has not had a lot of practice time. The pass rush is nasty from Houston, and I don't think they want to get Stafford hit here. I think that's the biggest point. Don't get him hit. And so I think this game's going to be conservative. Fields may not have a whole lot of ceiling, but he should run for something, and that's enough to get it done for me. I'm going to go with Fields. All right, Max, appreciate all your – oh, man, you're always keeping up with our stuff, so appreciate you quite a bit, Max. And you do listen to that Sirius show, and that means a lot. 12 teams, standard scoring. McMillan, Myers, Moore, Puka, Garrett Wilson. It's a good problem to have. For sure it is. You know what? I just talked about the Houston matchup, but Puka's got to get his, right? I mean, they make him such a focal point. They scheme him open. I just don't think if Puka's healthy, I don't think we could ever sit him. And then the question becomes Garrett Wilson or DJ Moore in my mind are the next two. I think Garrett Wilson, despite the matchup, he's had bad matchups his whole career. He's been double covered his whole career. So I think Wilson is your floor play. But I think the boom bust play is DJ Moore because Moore could go off against Detroit. I'm sorry, Minnesota. Minnesota does not have good corners. And we know Ben Johnson knows their pressure schemes. So I think he can work around that. So I'm going to say Puka's in, Wilson's your floor play. But if you got to swing for the fence, then it'd be DJ Moore. Uncle Ted, if you need help with your lineup, you've already lost. Well, thank you for that wise advice. So why are you here then? All right, Delroy. Full PPR, pick two. Stevenson, Tillman, Charbonnet, Olave, and Coleman. As long as Olave is healthy, I'm not worried about the quarterback. Good receivers play well with bad quarterbacks. So I'm not worried at all about Olave. You play him. The second one, I like Tillman. I think there's going to be a shootout. I think Joe Flacco can easily get the ball against those Cincinnati corners. So I think it can be Tillman and Olave. All right. Joseph. Breece Hall in 2 leagues. Should you start him? You have Tracy, Dobbins, Hubbard. And Dobbins forward. So Breece Hall is one of those players where I have as my running back 17. I have Trace as my running back 16. So they're tied at the hip, right? I do think Breece Hall he could always break one because he was hurt last year. He said he played through a sprained MCL. Breece Hall could make 1 or 2 big plays. Tracy's a good running back. I think Hall and Tracy have a very good floor. I think Hall has more upside because Hall could break that play that Tracy's probably not going to break. So I'm not going to bench Hall for that one. Dobbins and timeshare. Hubbard, it's a nice matchup for Hubbard. But you know what? I think you could go Hubbard. Hubbard I have at 15. I think you could go with Hubbard because the Jacksonville matchup is not oppressive. So you know what? I would give Hubbard a slight lean there. In the other league, no. I would play with Dobbins at forward. I would just go with Hall there. So yeah, good. All right. All right, Chris. Appreciate you. Thank you. Ertz and Jonnu Smith. And you have Hunter Henry and Chig. So, you know what? Henry was really involved with Drake May last year. And that's all we got to go on. But he was really good. And Chigo Conquo has never really had a quarterback, but he does now. And he's about 500 yards a season. I really like Jonnu Smith. And I don't want to tell you to drop Hunter Henry, but I think with Stephon Diggs there now, I think that Drake May is going to have other options to throw the ball to. He really didn't have it. DeMario Douglas. So I think that Hunter Henry's targets go to him. Jonnu Smith, 2 years ago, Arthur Smith had 583 yards. It was a career year at the time. But that offense in Atlanta that last year was Pitts in him. It was 1,200 yards to the tight end. And last year, Freiermuth started getting used in the second half. He had a great second half. I think Jonnu Smith is going to have a really strong season. His ADP went through the floor. I would drop him for Henry. And Okonkwo would hold because Okonkwo could be the breakout tight end this year because he has a quarterback. And he may be the number 2 option in the offense. If Io Manor doesn't break out himself as a rookie, that's a move I would make. And again, Henry was great. Trust your gut on that. If you want to keep Henry, keep him. I get it. Let me just check inactives here real quick. See if there's anything that we need to know. Remember I said, so Xavier Hutchinson, again, expected to get starter snaps against the Rams. And so that's probably at the peril of Jaden Higgins, because if there are 2 receiver sets, that would be the case. If there are 3 receiver sets, then there's that. But remember, Hutchinson had his chances last year and did not do anything with them. He's a good blocker, though, and they might want him for that purpose against the Rams. So think about that. Nick Chubb, according to Ian Rappaport, will be the bell cow running back for the Texans in week 1. So if you need a floor play, he should be a floor play. I hope it's more, but I can't say that. Steelers linebacker, that's all right. Nothing there. Nothing with the Colts of note. Darnell Mooney's inactive. Just a reminder of that. We said earlier. Left tackle Ike Ekwonu for the Carolina Panthers is inactive. That doesn't help Bryce Young for sure. Because Hines Allen and company could get a little extra. Jermaine Burton is inactive. Alan Lazard inactive. Josh Reynolds be doing some blocking here. Left tackle Andrew Thomas of the Giants, as expected, is inactive. And we knew Tristan Wirfs, left tackle for the Bucs, inactive. Raheem Mostert, healthy scratch. And Chris Rodriguez said earlier, inactive. And we said Christian McCaffrey is fully expected to play. All right, let's get back at it here. Let me just see where we're at question-wise. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. And we got James Koh coming in about 20 minutes. I wonder, we can get down to the spam is on there later. All right, here we go. All right, Chris. Oh, yeah, I noticed. That's fine. Everybody, it's week 1. We're all making mistakes. Week 1, we got to get that all figured out. Before I get into questions, when we predict these players, we're trying to predict game script is really what we're doing. And we know that doesn't always work. It's a fumble on the first play or 2 defensive touchdowns, and all of a sudden the game script is out the window. And when we look back, I want to point this out. Friday night, you get the Chiefs and the Chargers game. Now, maybe you're a genius, but I did not see a Greg Roman offense going to play Kansas City and going like almost 70% pass. Did not see that happening. I saw them as wanting to run the ball control because that's what Greg Roman does. And they drafted Omari and Hampton. It was pass. And I mean, look, it was 10 targets for Keenan Allen. It was 9 for McConkey. It was 7 for Quentin Johnson. And it was only 15 carries for Hampton. And they were in control of that game. They were leading almost all the way. So if you didn't predict that game script, you would have never gotten it right. And Dallas, well, the Jalen Carter ejection was huge because he's the linchpin of their run defense. And then all of a sudden now Javonte Williams scores 2 touchdowns and Dallas's pass game gets trashed. So those are just things to understand. All right, let's get to the questions here. Hero. All right, half PPR. Eckler, Stevenson, or Warren. Got to go with Warren here. Right now, they're expecting him to be the lead back, and it's not a bad matchup. And I will play him over Golden as well. And then Golden, who's your flex? So, yeah, but Warren would be my player there for sure. Yeah, we got a couple more super chat. Let me get these, and I'll come back to Jay. All right, let's see what we got here. Fabian, we got another one for you. You need a running back and a flex. Jordan Mason, Krosky, Merritt, Ridley, and Demario Douglas. So for your running back, middle linebacker for the Bears is out. That could help Jordan Mason a bit. I do think they're going to run the ball quite a bit. Krosky, Merritt, it's not a bad match because the Giants have a great pass rush, but I don't know their run defense is going to be great. I would still go with Jordan Mason here. I think Jordan Mason is going to have a good offensive line. They fix an interior line. The Bears are not an elite run defense. So I would go Jordan Mason there. And then for your flex, Ridley's boom bust. He has a terrible matchup, but there could be garbage time. I think the floor play for that one would be Krosky Merritt because he's going to have a baseline of carries here. So he'd be your second one. But if you want to go for ceiling, again, Ridley has a low floor, but he has real ceiling. And oops, here we go. Warren or Golden? Great question. I'm going to go again. Warren, I expect is going to have full-time work to start. Matchup's not bad. James Koh is in the house. Yes, sir. So yeah, we have Jalen Warren. I'm going to go with over Matthew Golden there, and that's caught up on the super chat. James, welcome in.
Jim, what's up? I'm so stoked to be here. My very first Jim Coventry starts live stream,
and I didn't have an earpiece in. All right, now that said, James Koh, it's week 1. Excited?
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm so stoked. Rubber meets the road here. We've been talking all off season about sleeper starts, fades, all these kind of stuff. And finally, we get a little game action. And you know what, Jim, too? It's like we had two great games to start the season off. So, yeah, no, I'm excited.
James, I was just pointing out before you stepped in, I was pointing out a lot of the starts and sit stuff is we have to predict game script. And yes. I don't know that anybody, you would have been a genius if you called Friday night that the Chargers would lead almost the entire game and they'd be like 70% pass. It would be like 7 targets to Johnson, 10 to Keenan, 9 to McCaffrey, and only 15 carries to Hampton. And if you didn't see that game script coming, there's no way you would have gotten those players properly projected, correct?
Well, I mean, how do you project? Where do you the Keenan Allen thing is just such a bothersome thing for me. You know, it's like how much gas has he got left in the tank? There's that. There's the game script of, okay, well, how much is Greg Roman going to let these guys, unfurl the forward pass? And I think that was my major takeaway from the Chargers KC game was the fact that, again, Greg Roman is letting Justin Herbert cook. He's letting him do his thing. And even, again, despite the fact that they're winning the game, they didn't try to lean on the run. And I'll say this, too. I don't know, Jim. My offseason concern was that Omarion Hampton from a schematic fit wasn't the best. Not that he was terrible in a man gap scheme, but he just wasn't the best. And even though he's a great prospect, I just didn't think he was going to be a great fit in man gap. And I kind of sort of saw a little bit of that there here in week number 1. So I got to go back into the game film and really grind that out. But yes. But again, I did have a little bit of concern.
Yeah, I can't wait to rewatch this. Hey, we got 2 super chats here. We're going to go back to them. We'll get back to Delroy, go to my start section here. And we answered that one already. So we got one more sitting here. So we got Sideshow Mill. Kyler Murray, who came down with an illness, is not like listed questionable, but he's listed now with an illness, or Brock Purdy. So that said, Brock Purdy's in this situation. We don't know what the Christian McCaffrey role is going to be. Seattle, good defense, Mike McDonald. They're going to send some looks, but Kyle Shanahan faced him last year. He kind of has an idea for this. I think the safe play would be Purdy because Murray, if he is ill and if he has any further problem, I would not want to take the chance in week 1. What say you, James?
This matchup against New Orleans is so nice, though. And again, the one thing with Purdy that I've got some hesitation with is where is Juwan Jennings? I feel like if Juwan Jennings is good to go 100%, then I'm going Purdy, right? Like CMC is set to play. Okay, there's going to be some checkdowns there, some design stuff. To CMC. George Kittle, we know, is ready to rock and roll. And, man, everyone under the sun loves Ricky Pearsall. But where is Juwan Jennings? If Juwan Jennings ain't right, remember, he hasn't practiced all offseason, man. He hasn't practiced. If he's not right, this passing game, I think, might get a little stuck in the mud, no? So, I don't know, man. I hear you. I'm kind of sort of torn either way.
Yeah, it's just I'm risk averse in week 1. And remember, Jennings is a butt kicker as a blocker, and even if he didn't practice, I still think he can knock some people out for George Kittle to get him knocked into the second level. See how that shakes out. All right, let's go back to our live questions here. We are on Delroy here. No, I think I jumped down here. There we go. Take a minute to click the right one. Delroy, here you go. All right. Stevenson or Cedric Tillman. For me, there's a shootout and for Cedric Tillman. Joe Flacco could throw intermediate and deep. Stevenson, I don't know his role. I'm easy and on Tillman. Where do you sit, James?
Sorry, Jim. I was trying to look through the chat myself. Did you go Tillman or Stevenson here?
I went Tillman. I think it's going to be a shootout. Flacco can easily get it intermediate and deep. Stevenson, I really don't know his role.
I'm with you here, but to be honest with you, I think the layperson is probably playing Stevenson because you know what you're going to get. You're going to get most likely some kind of 50-50 role. close to a 50-50. Even if he's the B side of like a 55-45 or 60-40, you know you're going to get something out of Ramondre Stevenson. The reason I'm going Tillman, and he's one of my favorite deep sleepers this week, is the fact that the Bengals defense not very good. We know this, and also, how about this, Matt? How about this stat? The Bengals gave up 11 deep touchdowns last year. So 11 touchdowns on deep passes, 20 air yards or more. If there's anything that old man Flacco can still do, it's sling it deep. Mm-hmm. And Cedric Tillman is their deep shot threat, right? So I kind of want to cash in on just that. Like if we could just get one deep shot touchdown for Tillman, we're cooking, you know? So I kind of want to chase that upside with Tillman as well.
I just remember those 3 games he started when Cooper got traded. Tillman averaged 7 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Dude was rocking before that concussion. So there we go. All right, we got Scott Lynn asking, Sutton or Pearsall? So Sutton is in this game where if Denver gets a lead, they might run the ball a lot. Sutton's going to share targets with Ingram and share with Marvin Mims like he did in the last 4 weeks last year. Sutton was heavily used in the preseason game. Pearsall, flavor of the preseason. When he's outside, he'll get some of Reek Woolen. When he's inside, he'll get some of Devin Witherspoon. That's going to be a little interesting. I think Sutton has the easier matchup. Ultimately, I think Sutton has a higher ceiling, but I think Pearsall might have a higher floor. What do you think, James?
I think you got a spot on because Pearsall, to me, if he doesn't see 10 targets in this game, I don't know what happened. Right? I would be shocked if he does not see at least 8 targets in this ball game. Again, as I mentioned, Juwan Jennings really hasn't practiced. How much is he involved in the game plan? I would imagine they're probably de-emphasized him here a little bit, right? So I think Pearsall is going to be the primary wide receiver focal point there in San Francisco against Seattle. And I don't know, man. I have this sneaky suspicion that Seattle can put up some points too. Right. So I think that San Francisco may be in a little bit of a back and forth here, too. So I like Pearsall, the floor. But again, when you talk about deep downfield shots, it's going to be Sutton. And Sutton, to me, does have a little bit of higher ceiling. So I'm probably leaning Pearsall here, but it's a lean. And it's not clear to me. But I would lean Pearsall for me.
Yeah, the floor is sometimes the play, especially in week 1. All right, Jose, and Jordan had a question, but he asked it to the chat, so we won't answer it since he wanted the chat. The chat's got you. All right, Jose, PPR for flex, pick 1, Monty, Shaheed, and Njoku. All I remember is this. The last 5 games in 2023 that Njoku played with Flacco averaged 96 yards. He was the overall tight end 1. There's no reason to think that chemistry still isn't there, and I know Cincinnati couldn't cover the tight end in the past. I don't think their offseason moves that mean they can cover him now. For me, it's Njoku. What do you think?
How worried are you about Harold Fannin?
Zero.
I don't know. I don't know what to think of Harold Fannin, because it seems like the fantasy community is so hot on Harold Fannin right now. I don't know what to think.
Rookie Steve.
Njoku still got some juice. Like, am I missing something, bro? So I don't know. I kind of feel in David Njoku here, although I am actually very intrigued by David Montgomery too. I think, again, floor play wise, David Montgomery feels like a very safe play for me because he's going to get some work.
All right, then we got Delroy, pick 2, Coleman, Tillman, Pittman, Eckler, ETN. We both talked about Tillman earlier. I think Coleman has a tough matchup against the Ravens. Pittman, not overly concerned about Miami, has no corners. Everybody's on IR, done, whatever. Pittman should have a high floor here. Eckler, pass catching back, but if this game is close, they might not need him a ton. ETN, I really want to see it first. I could see an upside. So I would say, for me, Pittman has a good floor. If I want to swing for the fence that ETN is going to be a thing in its offense, that would be a boom-bust play. But otherwise, I do like Tillman. How about you, James?
This one's got me in a pickle here. Pick 2 and full PPR. Okay, so again, Tillman, I think if we're chasing the upside, which I like to do, I think Tillman is a good play there. If we're going floor play, you got to go Eckler. And I think I'm going to say floor play Pittman and Eckler. If I'm going just kind of sort of blend of upside and floor, I think Pittman, I might want to go Pittman and Tillman. If I'm trying to get a little blend of a floor upside play.
Yeah, I like that one as well. All right, Delray, Mayfield or Trevor Lawrence? So Mayfield technically has an easy matchup. No Tristan Wirfs. And the other team, Atlanta, has no right tackle. They're under the third stringer. I could see both teams trying to run the ball and protect their quarterbacks. If that happens, it could be a run-heavy script. So Mayfield has a super high ceiling. But if this game ends up being run-based, that could be a problem. But Lawrence, we haven't seen him. And we haven't seen Liam Cohen's offense. But they're playing Carolina. There's a real positive there. So I think Lawrence probably has a great floor here. But I think your high ceiling variance play is Mayfield. What do you think, James?
The funny thing is I would actually say the opposite. I would say the floor play for me is Baker Mayfield, just because, again, we saw him do it. We've seen him do it for the last couple of seasons here now. Despite the fact that Chris Godwin is sidelined, we love Emeka Egbuka. So we kind of sort of figure Baker Mayfield has a pretty decent floor with his two wide receivers in Evans and Egbuka. Trevor Lawrence, hey, listen, Carolina really did not make that many defensive changes. And I think, especially on their line and linebacker core, they're still really, really bad. Will Jacksonville be tempted to run the football against a pretty shoddy Carolina front? That's my one area of concern. But I do think, though, that the upside is there for Trevor Lawrence because, again, you've got the shiny new toy in Travis Hunter. You've got BTJ. And, man, I do wonder if Liam Cohen is just like, you know what, let's just take the gloves off. Let's show the world what Trevor Lawrence is all about.
We have another super chat question from Brent. Half PPR, last flex spot. Tracy, Chubb, or Coleman? Tracy, when he was fresh last year and he was used, he was 5.4 yards per carry. It's like a 6 week, 5 weeks, 5 through 10. He was really strong. He can catch the ball, he can run the ball. I don't think Washington's a bad matchup at all. I know left tackle Andrew Thomas is out. I think that's more of a concern for the quarterback on the dropbacks. I think Tracy's a strong play here. Nick Chubb, look, I love him to the moon, but it's his first game, and even though he's going to be the bell cow, Tracy's going to be involved as a receiver. Chubb probably not. Coleman, I don't like his matchup. For me, it's Tracy, even though my heart always says Chubb, but I got to go Tracy. What do you think, James?
Well, in regards to Chubb, too, again, I don't think he's moving that well. And also, how much is Woody Marks going to get involved there in Houston, right? So, and the offensive line is obviously not very good. I do wonder how much Chubb is going to need a couple of weeks before he gets kind of sort of acclimated to game speed here. I think it's Tyrone Tracy for me. I don't think there's any question. Washington, I don't think was very good defensively last year. They improved, obviously. But again, still overall, Tracy for me is going to be heavily utilized in the passing game. I love Tracy in PPR.
We're going to have another super chat question here, but NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports Chris Godwin is targeting a week 5 return. Remember that surgery was to tighten up the hardware. So in my mind, which may be wrong, I would expect Chris Godwin to be in pretty good shape when he comes back because it wasn't a problem with the injury, it was a problem with the hardware. Anything on that, James?
I don't know why Tampa Bay just didn't put him on IR. I mean, every doctor under the sun was saying this guy's not going to be ready until week 5. And honestly, most doctors have said week 6. So I think Tampa Bay's even being aggressive with week 5. Why didn't they just put him on IR? I don't know. That just didn't make sense to me.
Right. All right. Next one, we have Fantasy Meatball. Michael out there. Start 16. You got Tracy, Eckler, ETN, or Pittman for running back 2 and flex spot. So it looks like we need 2 of them. I said earlier, I think Tracy's going to get quite a bit of work here as a runner and receiver. The matchup is not bad at all. Eckler should catch some passes, but Krosky Merritt probably gets a lot more of the running. ETN, again, I'm not certain of his role. Pittman, I do think has a floor of targets against Miami that really can't cover. So for my money, Tracy and Pittman. What do you think, James?
Yep, I got it. That's about the same for me. I love Tracy. I really like Tracy, man. Again, we're talking about a young developing player who's got some wide receiver skill sets here. Listen, while I love Cam Scatterbo too, I think it's Tracy this year where Cam Scatterbo develops. I could be tempted into a little, Eckler play, but honestly for me, I think it's Tracy, Pittman. By the way, Fantasy Meatball, you've got it spot on. Bad Dolphins defensive backfield. Pittman, I think, should eat.
All right, we have Prince of Picks wanting to know DK Metcalf or Calvin Ridley. Ridley has a horrible matchup. We saw against the Jets last year. He still did well. There could be garbage time. Metcalf does not have an easy matchup either. But that said, Aaron Rodgers in play action, I would have to think the big-bodied Metcalf is able to get, even if Sauce Gardner's on him, it's a big size advantage. Whereas Ridley has no advantage on Patrick Surtain. For me, it's Metcalf. What do you think, James?
You can't play Ridley. It's like I don't like either one. And as a matter of fact, I highlighted both as sits this week, but you can't play Ridley. Not against Denver secondary. It's just not. I don't think we got a rookie in his first game. No. In at quarterback, I'm talking about, right? Like Cam Ward. I just don't think you can play Ridley at all. It's for me, it's DK Metcalf. I don't like either one, but again, if I had to choose one, it's going to be DK.
James, I'm going to answer a couple more questions with you. I'm going to let you take over. I don't know if in the stream or on the side you can see where the question, but I do have a highlight in blue. I don't know if it highlights for you. But we'll do a couple more together, and I'll let you do the heavy lifting the last 45. But it's been exciting to work with you. But let's get Scott's question here. Debo or Jacoby Myers? Kind of like them both. Myers was pretty much 9+ targets a game once Devontae Adams got traded last year. And I don't know that his role changes a lot, although with Ashton Genty, they might run more. Myers is a much better quarterback than he did. Debo, look, last year, Washington, what was the way to play them defensively? You dropped everybody back. You gave them the catch and run. Well, that was Zach Ertz not running much, but piling up. I think Debo gets those dump offs, and I think defenses have to play them and give them that space. So I think they're both excellent plays this week. Ultimately, I probably lean Debo because I think you got to play them in such a way he's going to get free yards that Myers isn't going to get. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I'd really be curious to see is this PPR or not, Scott? Right, like Scott Cobb, is this PPR? Because if it's PPR, I'm more apt to play Debo. But if it's non PPR, go ahead and give me Jacoby Myers. Right, like again, I really got to see. Jim, I got to see something from Debo in the first couple of weeks, athleticism-wise, man. Like, he looks like he's running in sand. And last year, he did not play well. And so I would just be – I really got to see a couple weeks of Debo. Is this guy in shape, bro? Because, man, last year, I don't think he was in shape or something was up because he did not look good last year. And he didn't look good in this preseason either, man. So I don't know. I think I'm leaning Jacoby Myers, at least in week 1.
All right. And then Keon Coleman or Olave. For me, this one's easy. Olave does not have a concussion today. Olave may not have a good quarterback, but Olave is an incredible NFL receiver. They're going to pass for some yards. And it's not like Arizona's a world beater at corner. They got Max Melton and this year's second-round draft pick. For me, it's not close. It's Olave. What do you say, James?
Yeah, it's not even a question. It's Olave. For all the reasons Jim said, again, I don't think Arizona secondary is very good. Chris Olave's a great player. We're going Olave.
James, I will take my rankings off the screen, and I will wish you the best of luck in week 1. Always exciting to work with you, and have fun with the rest of the questions. The audience was so great to have you on board. Thanks, James.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, thanks. And I'll change the background, and I'll get out of here quickly. You can keep talking.
All right. Well, hey, we're gonna keep going with these questions. No question. Okay, this is from Daryl Norman. Let's go. Good morning, Jim. Need to make a comeback after Dak disappointing game. Full PPR, Travion Henderson or Pollard. Look, Denver's defense is obviously amazing, but I do think that Pollard, there's nobody else. I mean, even the rookie behind him is a little bit banged up. I think Pollard's your floor play. Travion Henderson, guys, it's really interesting. Travion Henderson has gotten so much pub, so much, hype and accolades here in the preseason, and he's a very explosive player. There's no question. But from what I charted last year, and I charted him last year, he was not a great tackle breaker, and New England has one of the 5 worst offensive lines in the NFL. I think he's in a split. I don't think he's going to be the every down back. I think if you want, but he is obviously a much more explosive player than Tony Pollard. So honestly, if you're going for a floor play, I'm going Pollard, and if I'm chasing upside, it's going to be Travion Henderson. Okay, this is from Sleek. Happy Sunday, full PPR, Ibuka or Travion Henderson. A lot of Travion Henderson questions here. Full PPR, I'm going Emeka Ibuka. I don't think there's any question for me. Again, this is a potential shootout here against Atlanta. It's a 45.5 point over under, right? It's the second highest projected point total here in week number 1. So we're talking about a potential shootout here. And meanwhile, Tampa Bay is projected to score 25 points. That's the implied total from Vegas, right? That right there, to me, implies, a lot of points potentially being scored right here. So, Sleek, I would go Emeka Buka. I'm not that worried about it. Look, Travion Henderson could obviously hit a home run. He's that explosive, but I just don't necessarily see it here in week number 1. Let's see. Efrain Aguayo, half PPR, Ridley or Shaheed or Coleman. Half PPR, Ridley, Shaheed, or Coleman. Again, I don't know how you play Ridley against Denver. Pat Surtain, can't have it. I don't know how you play him. Now, I do think that he's going to see way more volume than Coleman or Shaheed. Coleman's going up against Baltimore. Baltimore's secondary is nasty, y'all. I think we're going to see that play out. I don't like Coleman this week. And again, that's supposed to be a super high scoring. It's supposed to be the highest scoring game of the weekend. But I'm not trusting Keon Coleman this week. Is it Shaheed? Where's he at with his injury? That would be my question. Where is Shaheed at with his injury? And guys, by the way, I apologize. I don't have control of the chat. Like, I can't pull up the questions on the chat. So it's not me not wanting to show it. Like, I want to show the questions. You know what I mean? I just don't have control of the chat. So it's all good. But again, Ridley, Shaheed, or Coleman, Efrain, I feel like I'm going to get burned on this maybe, but I think if it's my personal team, I think I'm playing Shaheed. I love Shaheed, the player. And to me, I like the matchup a lot more than I like the Ridley matchup. It's half PPR, so, the volume will be... Let me just say this. Ridley for the floor, Shaheed if you want a little bit of upside play. If you got AJ'd, like I did, okay? Like I did, man. I'm going Shaheed because I got to chase them points, man. Delroy, man. Delroy, you're active in the chat, my guy. I love it. Half PPR pick 2, Breece Hall. Yes, we're playing Breece Hall. Tony Pollard or Tracy. I'm going Breece Hall, Tyrone Tracy right there. Tony Pollard, we talked about, the defense is against Denver is not looking great. So, I will go Breece Hall. For sure. I think I've got some hope for Breece Hall. Everyone hates Breece Hall for some reason, but I don't. I think Breece Hall is a great player, and I think his skill and talent level will easily shine over Braylon Allen, and I think Aaron Glenn would be absolutely insane not to play Breece Hall. Ricardo Worrell, full PPR, flex position, Diggs or Pollard or Waddle. Full PPR. The vibes in South Beach are not great, but go ahead and give me Waddle. I think he's the most talented player of this group. Look, we all love Diggs, but we like Diggs from 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, Diggs is getting a little bit longer in the tooth. I don't know what New England does. By the way, that New England game is supposed to be a very low-scoring game. 43.5 is the over-under on the Las Vegas-New England game. I think both teams want to run the ball quite a bit. How much volume will there be for Stephon Diggs? By the way, where is he at with his health? I know in training camp, all the training camp videos have looked amazing in regards to Diggs, but I mean, we still don't know. I mean, he's recovering from a major injury. So in that regard, I really like Waddle, I guess, of that group. That group is tough, though. I think if you want a floor play, we're going Pollard because he's a running back and he's going to get the work. But if I want a little bit of upside, I think I'm going to go Waddle. By the way, how much do you think Miami is going to lean away from Tyreek Hill and go into Waddle here a little bit? Tyreek obviously has made some comments, and I think the team might be a little bit hedging their bets here a little bit. Why feed Tyreek Hill when you don't know how engaged he's going to be? And instead, let's go to Waddle, who's been, again, a great soldier. He's a great player too. He's a great player, is Jalen Waddle. All right. Joe Buttafuoco. What a name. I get name envy, y'all. I do. James Koh. That's just such a boring name. Koh. Anyways, whatever. Start Travis Hunter or Debo. Also, you have Brian Thomas. Oh, okay. So you're a little worried that if you play Brian Thomas, we're capping off Travis Hunter. I don't care. In this particular, I hear what you're saying, Joe, but in this particular case, I think we just go with it. Let's go Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter in the same wide receiver room. I mean, shoot, you drafted them for a reason. Here we are in week 1. Let's go. I like Travis Hunter over Debo in this one. I said it with Jim. I'll say it with y'all. I got to see what Debo's got left. I got to see what Debo's got left in the tank. I'm not 100% sure what we got here. So let's see. What else we got here? I don't know about these super chats. Like, did we get to some of these already or no, bro? But I think we did. Okay, so we got to all the super chats. All right, so we're good. All right, let's go here. This is from Steve Luna. You need a flex DJ Moore, McMillan, or Warren. You need a flex DJ McMillan or Warren. Well, Tyler Warren up. Okay, this is interesting because I don't think Tyler Warren is anywhere in the same ballpark as DJ Moore. Bottom line is DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore a lot in this one. I know Ted McMillan has an interesting matchup, and it's a potentially, it's a great matchup against Jacksonville. It honestly is. But rookie in his first game, I'm not sure, man. Look, DJ Moore's a great player. And again, I think Chicago's going to open it up. We obviously love Ben Johnson there leading the way here for Chicago. So go ahead, Steve Luna, go ahead and give me DJ Moore. Cosmic, half PPR, Romo, Odunze, or Sutton. Odunze has the better matchup, question mark? Yeah, he does. Again, when we're taking a look at what Chicago is doing here against Minnesota, guys, Minnesota's a interesting real-life defense, but they've gotten older. They're not very good in the secondary, and they play this crazy high-risk, high-reward defense. There's a reason why quarterbacks didn't score that well against Minnesota, but wide receivers did. It's because sometimes all you need is a shot play, and Minnesota gives up shot plays. I love Odunze this week, and I love Odunze on the season, but I just think about Odunze in Ben Johnson's offense. If he's able to play that Jamo Williams role where he's scheming up these deep overs, deep dig routes against a high-risk defense in Minnesota, he only needs to catch one or two to make that play pay off. So for me, it's Rome Odunze over Sutton. Cal Chad TV, am I crazy for thinking about benching Josh Allen? Yes. Don't bench Josh Allen. Because you've got Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. What? Wait a second. You're going to bench Josh Allen and Joe Burrow for Bryce Young? No. Don't do that. That's absolutely. Why is that? By the way, why is that a dream matchup? The Bryce Young against Jacksonville is a dream matchup? I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that premise. First of all, I just don't agree with that premise. Jacksonville secondary is improved. I don't think this is the same secondary from last year, y'all. They tried to address this defense quite a bit this offseason. By the way, because again, first of all, this is what's funny in fantasy football. We are all assuming that Travis Hunter is not going to play any secondary reps, which is not true. He's going to have secondary reps. So again, Travis Hunter is as great as he is as a wide receiver. Dude, this guy's a lockdown, shutdown corner. Jacksonville did actually address the secondary. So I actually would not say it's a dream matchup for Bryce Young. Yeah, you got to play Josh Allen in a potential heater against Baltimore too, by the way. And by the way, don't get me wrong, Baltimore's got a great defense. Josh Allen's going to get it done. Somehow, some way. It's going to be a high-scoring game. They're going to figure it out, man. Ricardo Worrell, full PPR flex, Diggs or Pollard or Waddle? Diggs, Pollard, or Waddle? I feel like I answered this one already. No? I'm going to go Waddle here because, again, I do think that they might try to emphasize Waddle a little bit more. Josh Paris, if we didn't get to your question, Charbonnet, Shaheed, or Ali, I'm going to go Shaheed there. I don't know what Jim said if he answered this question, but I'm going to go Shaheed. Both those Ali, Charbonnet guys are backups. Shaheed, to me, has some big play potential. Let's go. Lee Vink, Kyler Murray sick. Yes, he is sick. I don't know what to make of it. They put him on the injury report, but he's going to play with no hesitation. So I think we kind of sort of have to treat it like he's going to play with no hesitation. Corn 456, full PPR, Field, Stafford, Purdy, pick 2. You're in a 2 QB league. We're going to go Stafford, and we're going to go, I think we're going to go Fields. Now, you know what? Let's go Stafford and Purdy here. I am tempted by the rushing, obviously, of Justin Fields. Stafford's, look, I don't trust Stafford on the season, but for week 1, I'll trust him. You know what I mean? We got Puka, we got Devontae. I think they're going to open it up, and I think it'll be a fun game. I think the Rams will really get this thing going here. So Stafford and Purdy for me. Let's go. Okay, leaving Rodriguez, healthy scratch. Is Chris Rodriguez a healthy scratch? Is that right? I didn't see that one. Jason Burris, PPR, Travis Hunter or Garrett Wilson? Nah, it's Garrett Wilson, y'all. Look, Jason, I get it. Travis Hunter, a shiny new thing. Garrett Wilson feels like, okay, what are we looking at here? Garrett Wilson, again, is the number 1 wide receiver. He's a fantastic player. He's getting back. He reunited with his college quarterback. There's a lot to like about Garrett Wilson overall. Look, I know that the overall vibes in for the Jets are not good, but Garrett Wilson is a fantastic player. Fantastic player. He's going to see a minimum of 8 targets in this ball game because who else are they going to throw it to? I don't care how much shade coverage you could double cover this dude every single snap. He's going to find a way to get open, and he's going to see the volume overall. So yeah, no, give me Garrett Wilson. I don't think it's not that close. Hooks and hoops, PPR. You need to start one of Juwan Jennings, David Montgomery, or Jacoby Myers. If I'm starting one, I'm probably going David Montgomery. It's funny because we keep just discounting David Montgomery like he's not going to get the rock. He's going to get the rock. We want Jahmyr Gibbs to see 70% of the touches. He's not going to see 70% of the touches, man. He's just not going to. That's not how this team is built. David Montgomery for the floor play. Honestly, in PPR, if I'm looking for a little upside, go ahead and give me Jacoby Myers. Juwan Jennings, when he got starts last year, was incredible. So I understand the allure of Juwan Jennings, hooks and hoops, but I just got to say, like, he hasn't practiced. Like, he just hasn't he's done nothing this offseason. Can you really honestly see somebody like Kyle Shanahan, who has no problems putting dudes in the doghouse? He put Ayuk in the doghouse for like 10 weeks, dog. You know what I mean? Like, you really think that Juwan Jennings, the possibility is there that Juwan Jennings is not even in the game plan at all. They never throw him the football. It's there. So I'm not trusting that. I'm not trusting it like Juwan Jennings was like the guy that he was last year. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say. Okay, so I would say David Montgomery for floor play, Jacoby Myers if we're chasing a little bit of upside, especially in PPR. Delageezy, just saying hello. I'm saying hello to you too, pal. What's up, Jim?
Quick interruption, James. If you could just click on the questions so they show up on the screen, that will. I can't. I don't have that. I don't have that control.
Gotcha. Thanks for telling me. I'll tell Ellen. Thank you. All right. Bye, James.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
All right, man.
We'll have it next
See
week
ya.
for you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Jim. I love Jim. It's been so much fun to work with Jim, man. There's no question. I don't have that control, y'all. I wish I could click on these questions, brother, but I can't. Listen, I've done, a lot of streams in my life. I love clicking on them questions and having y'all, your questions up on the screen. But we don't got it right now, man. It's all good. Full PPR, Tyrone Tracy, Shakir, or Pittman. From Master J, which is great. Tyrone Tracy, Shakir, or Pittman. For me, it's Tyrone Tracy. Again, I think he's got a pretty decent matchup against Washington. I'm so intrigued by Pittman too. Where are we at with Pittman? But there's so many options there in Indianapolis. The downside risk is a little bit there. He does have a great matchup against Miami, though, but still, I think full PPR. I'll go ahead and take Tyrone Tracy, man. By the way, this needs to be said as well. Game script-wise, Washington is a 6.5, 7-point favorite, depending on the book. That's a really big line, right? So it's anticipated that Washington is going to be leading quite a bit in this one. To me, I think Tyrone Tracy is a better pass catcher than Cam Scatterbo. I think the hate on Cam Scatterbo as a pass catcher is probably overblown. I think he is a pretty good pass catcher as well. But let me just say, I think Tyrone Tracy, obviously converted wide receiver, he's going to be used more on passing downs for me, right? So Tyrone Tracy is going to be used on passing downs. If the game script is telling you, okay, the Giants are going to be trailing, passing down backs are going to get a little bit more work. Full PPR, Tyrone Tracy to me has a really, really good floor. And there's some upside there too because he's a very talented player. Okay. This is from Oops. Start Jalen Warren or Matthew Golden in a flex PPR league. I think we got this question in. I think I heard Jim talk about this question, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, this is from Oops. Start Jalen Warren or Matthew Golden in a flex PPR. I'm definitely going Matthew Golden here. By the way, the injuries there for Green Bay are piling up, obviously. When Jaden Reed says he has a Jones fracture, that's a fracture in his foot. I've done a lot of research on this. Most wide receivers go on IR. I know that Jaden Reed said it's a pain issue. It's not a pain issue, y'all. It's not a pain. Like nearly almost all wide receivers end up missing a good amount of time. There are some wide receivers who never recover, who never bounce back. There are some that do. But again, it's not a pain issue. I think at some point Jaden Reed's gonna shut it down. This is not just a pain issue. It's a broken bone in his foot, for God's sakes. So yeah, Matthew Golden, I think, is in a good spot. I think he's going to see a ton of volume overall. Kyle Siebert, audio. I'm down bad thanks to Worthy and Pickens. Oh no, Kyle Siebert, you played Worthy and Pickens. Oh, brutal. You got Josh Allen. Should you double stack Shakir and Coleman or Jacoby Myers? Well, play Shakir. I think Shakir's got a little bit of a better matchup, a little bit of an easier matchup in the slot against Baltimore. I'm so worried about Baltimore's outside corners, man. I think they're going to be great. But Shakir is going to get the most guaranteed work, I think, in that ball game. Coleman can always surprise you with a home run, ball. But for me, it's Shakir. And then I'll go Jacoby Myers, too. Again, I was worried about Jack Besh. I guess Jack Besh isn't really a thing. Amari Cooper suddenly retires. I mean, I know that it's going to be a run-heavy offense, and I know Brock Bowers is going to be involved as well, but shoot, Jacoby Myers is going to get involved too. And he's a really good player too. So go ahead and give me Jacoby Myers there. Jacoby Myers and Shakir. I like the thought, though, Kyle Siebert, of the double stack, just chasing the points like crazy. It's not DFS, though, so I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Ben Schuler, Swift, Travis Hunter, David Montgomery, Odunze, Jordan Mason, or Eckler in the flex. Man, you got a lot of options here, dude. You know what's funny? I'm gonna go Odunze. Give me that upside. By the way, I think he gives you a really good floor, too. He's going to be either the number 1 or the number 2 in this offense. I think Odunze is going to see good volume, and he's got some big play potential for sure. Kyle Siebert, he got a 35% chance to win. Look for a home run. Yeah, I hear you, man. If you're looking for a home run, if you are looking for a home run, I don't think Shakir is the play because I don't think he's a home run type player, if that makes sense. Right? So if you are looking for the home run, go ahead and give me Keon Coleman and Jacoby Myers. By the way, if you need upside, it's an interesting thought on the double stack, but you have to understand you are capping yourself if you're looking for a home run by playing 2 wide receivers on the same team, no? Right? Generally, only 1 wide receiver will go off. You have to pick which one that you want to get going there. And so, yeah, if you're chasing a big number, give me Keon Coleman and Jacoby Myers. All right. Hero, Aguirre, new channel for fantasy. Stay motivated. Let's go. Hey, man, welcome. Stuart Smith, 10-team PPR. Calvin Ridley, can't play him. Rome Odunze, yep, we're playing him. Or Travis Hunter in the flex. Nope, it's Rome Odunze for all the reasons that I highlighted before. Calvin Ridley, you just cannot play. Listen, if you have viable options, you can't play Calvin Ridley. Not against Pat Surtain, dude. No way. Not going to happen. Trevor R. I got AJ looking for upside in my other wide receivers. Pick 2 standard. Oh, Dino League. Let's go. Zay Flowers, Waddle. Leggett or Tillman. You're looking for upside. You got to pick two. I'm going to go ahead and pick Flowers. High-scoring game, potentially. We could chase a little touchdown upside there. And then again, if we're chasing just pure upside, Tillman. Tillman to me and again, he has the absolute worst floor of this group too. He can give you a 0. He can give you 0, but he could also give you 20. He could also give you 20, man. I could see him catching a deep shot over the top of this Bengals defense. If you guys just joined, this Bengals defense gave up 11 touchdowns on deep passes last year. That was tied for the most in the NFL. Who is the deep shot artist? It's Cedric Tillman. Who is he? And again, old man Joe, he can still sling it deep. He loves to sling it deep. So again, he can give you 0, he can give you 20. If you're just chasing upside, go ahead and give me Tillman. I'm not mad at that. But again, if you want a little bit more stability, I think it's Flowers and Waddle. All right. F. Jackson, T-Mac, Tet McMillan, Pearsall, Debo. The Pearsall spelling's got me tripped out, though. Pearsall, that's like a drink or something. T-Mac, Pearsall, Debo, Coleman as your wide receiver, too. Oh, it's Pearsall. No question in my mind. Listen, I love Tet McMillan. He's a great player. Can I just be 100% real with you? I'm not 100% T-Mac's skill set jibes that well with Bryce Young's skill set. I think Bryce Young needs to find a guy that can work the intermediate middle of the field. And yeah, he'll launch it on the side. I don't think Bryce has a very good deep ball, like at all. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's worked on that. I don't know what do y'all think, man? Like, I know the vibes are so good on Bryce Young, man. And like, I get it. Like, hey, kudos to him, putting his head down, working, he was being called the biggest draft bust in history, which is obviously not true because Jamarcus Russell exists, but he worked hard. And obviously after the Deontay Johnson trade, he got his confidence back. So it's good. Right. Like, but let's not make it seem like he's, Lamar Jackson. He's not even Kyler. Guys, he's not even Kyler. He's not even a top 10 quarterback. Let's go. Yeah, and I'm not a big Kyler guy, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I feel like it's like, let's just call it for what it is. Like, Bryce Young is a good young player, but he's not a top 10 quarterback in this league, Like, it's not even a question in my mind. I don't know. Am I hating? Chat, am I hating? I don't know. I don't think I am. But I don't think his skill set matches up that well with T-Mac, Tet McMillan. So I don't know. We'll see. But here's the thing about Dave Canales, though, man. The guy's a genius, dude. He's so smart. He's going to put these guys in positions to succeed. He really is. And so, yeah, if Tet McMillan, his 9 route, like, if that doesn't work well with Bryce, guess what? They're going to configure that. And they're going to say, Tet, you got to run some more digs. All right, then he'll run some more digs, I don't know. But for me, it's clearly Pearsall. I don't know how much work Jennings is going to get, but I would be surprised. I really would be. I'd be shocked if Pearsall doesn't see 8 targets in this ball game. It's Pearsall for me all day long. Sideshow Mill. I don't know if we got to this question, but I see it, so we're going to get to it. Murray or Purdy? Oh, we did get to this one. Murray has an illness. Yeah, I think I'm still going Murray here. It's a great matchup against New Orleans. I'm not worried about. I'm just not that worried about the illness, to be honest with you. I think I'm leaning Murray here, though, as opposed to Purdy. Jesse B, should I consider playing Jerome Ford over Montgomery today? Jerome Ford over Montgomery. Chat, I mean, fill me in, y'all. Like, what is going on with David Montgomery? Is there that much concern over David Montgomery's usage today? I'm not 100%. I'm just not 100% sure. You know what I mean? Like, what is what's the concern? I mean, he's going to get work. He's going to get work. I guess I'm confused. I don't know. It's a new offensive coordinator. I don't think he's that good of a player. But he's going to get work. So, yeah, you know what I mean? All right. Let's see. Where are we at right now? Okay. All All right, I lost my way in the chat, y'all, so I apologize. But anyways, this is from JJ Keats. Should I drop Caleb for Lawrence? Yes. Yeah. I love Lawrence. I freaking love Lawrence. Especially for the early portion of the season. Meanwhile, Caleb, and again, a talented player. There's no question. Caleb is a very talented player. I'm a little bit worried that they try to de-emphasize Caleb, at least early on, to start emphasize the run game here a little bit, just try to get him settled in. That's all. Andrea Steislowski. Andrea, I hope I didn't butcher that name, man. I love the name, though. Again, Koh is such a boring name. Just 3 letters. K-O-H. Steislowski? Shoot. Sounds like a baller. Mayfield or Purdy? Mayfield or Purdy? This one's an interesting one. I think Mayfield for floor. It's Mayfield. It's Mayfield. Mayfield floor upside. No matter how you slice it, give me Mayfield. Again, and a lot of this is because you think about Tampa Bay structure, the over/under. It's supposed to be a high-scoring game. I don't think the secondary they're going up against is very good. For me, it's Mayfield. Beaver Tom, Deebo Samuel or Jerry Jeudy? Deebo or Jerry Jeudy? Oh, I think we're going Jerry Jeudy here. I'm not the biggest Jerry Jeudy guy, but again, against Cincinnati's defense, Cincinnati's just not great defensively. I think Jerry Jeudy gives you pretty good floor. Deebo Samuel gives a decent floor too. Can I just, before I'm not going to bury Deebo, but let me just say I don't have a lot of hope for Deebo, if that makes sense. He did not look good last week at all, or last year at all. Sorry, just checking some of these notifications, making sure I didn't miss anything here. But yeah, he didn't look good. So let me just see what he's got left before we anoint the guy, But I'll go ahead and say Jerry Jeudy. He's going to see some decent volume in a pretty good matchup. Frank V, Deebo or Pearsall? Pearsall, there's no question. I feel like I've answered this question a bunch already. So Pearsall, no question. He's going to see a lot of work, and he's just a better overall player at this point in their careers. I mean, shoot, I'm not the only one that thinks that. San Francisco obviously thinks that, right? San Francisco's like, yeah, we got Pearsall. You could have Deebo. We don't need Deebo. We got Pearsall. We're good. Seward Smith, because of the matchup, full PPR, Stephon Diggs or Garrett Wilson? Leaning Diggs because of QB. Hey man, let me do this, Stuart. If you're leaning Diggs, go Diggs. Chat, let me just say this. I'm not going to be the guy unless it's egregious. Unless you're like, oh, should I play Josh Allen or should I play, I don't know, like Daniel Jones? It's like, okay, well, yeah, we're playing, but unless it's egregious, I'm not going to be the guy that talks you off your pick. If you're leaning Diggs, I want you to play Diggs. There's reasons for both. You know what I'm saying? There's reasons for both. Me personally, I would lean Garrett Wilson. That's just me personally. And again, if you just, ADP isn't everything, but there's a reason why Garrett Wilson is going so much higher in ADP than Stephon Diggs, right? So I think overall, I like Garrett Wilson. I like the volume floor that Garrett Wilson provides. There are a lot of reasons why you can play Diggs Stephon Diggs as well. They're playing Las Vegas right now. And the secondary there for Las Vegas is, it's not the best. There is a lot of reasons why you could play Stephon Diggs as well. I will say this too, though. It's interesting. I don't think the Raiders defense is very good, but last year they only allowed they were middle of the road in terms of fantasy points allowed to the defense. So there is that. But man, if you like Diggs, just play him and let's go. Jordan Griffith, Deebo or Tracy? Oh, Tracy. Half PPR, Jordan? No question. I like Tracy a lot. Again, they're a 6.5 point dog. That really leans on a passing script. And if that's the case, give me Tyrone Tracy. Dave Weekly, PPR RB question: J.K. Dobbins or Jordan Mason? Dobbins is the lead. I think he's the lead back. Jordan Mason's going to be in a 60-40 split, the B side of a 60-40. I love Jordan Mason. I just don't think, and by the way, in PPR, I don't think Jordan Mason is going to be great. If they end up trailing, I think it's going to be Aaron Jones, who's a better pass catcher than Jordan Mason. But yeah, I would say J.K. Dobbins because, again, I think he's going to see a little bit more work. Yeah. And oh, by the way, if they're in a game, I think they're going to be in a positive game script as well. Okay, this is from Matt. DJ Moore, Travis Hunter, Marvin Harrison Jr., Pearsall, PPR pick 3. DJ Moore, Travis Hunter, MHJ, Pearsall. We're playing Pearsall for sure. We're playing DJ Moore for sure. And to me, I think we're playing Marvin Harrison Jr. for sure. Travis Hunter, the odd man out here on this one. Let me go with all the number ones. DJ Moore, a number 1. Theoretically. I think Rome Odunze is going to end up being the number 1, but for right now, let's just say DJ Moore is the number 1. Marvin Harrison Jr., clearly the number 1. Pearsall, like I said, is going to see 8 to 10 targets, 8 to 12 targets in this game. Give me Pearsall. Travis Hunter, how much will he play on offense? They're saying he's going to play every down. I've got my doubts. I love Travis Hunter too. Trust me, my dynasty team is hoping it's Travis Hunter, bro. But give me DJ Moore, MHJ, and Ricky Pearsall, Matt. Tier Diaz, what up, dog? I can't believe you're in this stream. This is great. I love it. Tier Diaz, by the way, legit Hollywood actor, Tier Diaz, chat. All right. You know what I mean? This is a guy that was a longtime YouTube user on my personal channel for all these past years before I did the RotoWire pregame here. Anyways, drop Justin Fields for Trevor Lawrence, Jerome Ford, or Samson. I'm assuming you have another quarterback if you're asking me that question. I don't know who your starter is, Tier, but if you're looking to drop Justin Fields, it must mean you have a pretty legit starter. If you have a legit starter, listen, I love Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields are kind of sort of the same ballpark of sleeper, though, because Justin Fields gives you a rushing floor. Trevor Lawrence is still unknown whether or not he's going to work in this Liam Cohen offense. And I love Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence, bold prediction, Trevor Lawrence is going to finish as a top 8 fantasy quarterback this year. But if you're looking to add a little depth to your roster, Justin Fields for either Ford or Samson might be the play. I will say this, though. They're talking about Quinshon Judkins potentially coming back next week, week 2 against Baltimore. That would absolutely destroy the value for either Ford or Samson. I have Fields and Lawrence about the same tier of sleeper. I like Trevor Lawrence more, but I think Fields gives you a safer floor. But dude, guys, I really love Trevor Lawrence, man. And I could get burned on this one. But I again, if you have Fields, I think you're okay. I probably don't drop Fields for Ford or Samson just because Judkins is going to come back relatively soon. Joe Phelan, Commanders or 49ers DST? I would just say go with the better one. The matchup obviously is better for Washington going up against the Giants. But again, Seattle, when you're talking about Sam Darnold, he can be lured into a couple of picks as well. So I would just say let's go with the better overall defense in San Francisco, even though I think Washington has a better matchup. So yeah, I'll take San Francisco DST. Okay. Aiden, what up, dog? Koh knows. Full PPR. 1 running back, 1 flex. Yeah, 1 running back, 1 flex. Warren or Olave and Swift. Okay. We're definitely playing Olave. So the flex is locked up. So now it just becomes between Warren and Swift. Let's go Swift. I think overall better offensive ecosystem there for Swift. I'm not trusting Tyler Warren just yet. What's that backfield split going to look like between him and Caleb Johnson? Caleb, dude, guys, I mean, I know he didn't show that well in the preseason, but Caleb's a dog. Like, this guy can play. So I do think, and I think he's great fit for outside zone as well. That's going to be the predominant run scheme they use in Pittsburgh. So we'll see. I mean, shoot, they drafted the kid for a reason. They're not just going to bury him on the sideline. I do think that he's a great fit. They ran primarily outside zone at Iowa last year, and I thought he showed out pretty good. Obviously, put the stats up, man, for sure. So, listen, I think it's going to be good. And so I think at worst it's a 50-50 for the rookie. So it's Olave and Swift for me. Michael Parla Greco, what's up, my boy? Yes, week 1, let's go. What do you think of Dobbins versus Tennessee? I hate Dobbins versus Tennessee. But that being said, if he's, your running back too, you're going to play him because he's going to see crazy volume, you would think, right? Like all the other running backs on that roster right now are hurt. So, and or not good. So it's Dobbins for me. Sorry. Yo, brain fart. When you said Dobbins, for some reason I thought you said Pollard because I saw Tennessee. That's my bad. No, Dobbins is actually going to be in a timeshare with the rookie RJ Harvey, which is really interesting. So what do I think of Dobbins? I think he's going to be in a timeshare. RJ Harvey's really interesting, man. He's a boomer bust player. Gets a lot of run stuffs. Again, I charted him. But gets a lot of run stuffs, but he also hits a lot of home runs. So he's a absolute strikeout home run player. How much will Sean Payton live with that? How much will he, I don't know. How much has he coached out of him? The run stuffs. I don't know. We'll see. Tootsie Pop 6, Ford or Monty? Jerome Ford or Monty? I think I'm leaning Monty here. I don't know what the split's going to be for Ford either. Like Dylan Sampson, I think is going to get some work, y'all. So I'm going to go Monty here. Better offense, obviously, and Monty is a proven contributor as well. Thomas Leosh, DK, Swift, Olave, Cup, full PPR. You need one. Oh, dude, we're going Olave. By the way, chat, I got to know, man. Like I'm all 100% out on Cooper Kupp. Am I wrong? I feel like Kupp's got nothing left, man. I don't know. For me, this one's an easy one. For me, it's full PPR, no question. Chris Olave. I think he's going to see 8 to 10 targets in this ball game too. Rachel. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to say the last name. It's an interesting last name. TVRDIK. I love that last name. Rachel, Ted McMillan or Garrett Wilson, full PPR. I'm going Garrett Wilson, y'all. I think the hate has gone too far on Garrett Wilson. He's a great player. And while I like Ted McMillan too, and the target share will be there for sure, I have some concerns about Tet's fit with Bryce Young. And oh, by the way, even though I think Tet is a very good player, I don't think Tet is like this. He's not Brian Thomas Jr. He's not Marvin Harrison Jr. He's not Malik Neighbors. Does that make sense? Like, he's a good player. He's just not of that same class, though. He's not the same class of player as these top wide receiver prospects that have come out in recent years. So, again, I like Tet. I don't love Tet. So I would say go ahead and give me Garrett Wilson, who is a bona fide true stud number 1. Emergency, start Ertz or Loveland. Ertz or Loveland. This can't be an emergency, bro. Yo, my guy. What is it? Onjikaji? Yo, this is not an emergency. This is like low level. Come on, man. Ertz or Loveland. There's no way this determines your week. There's no way this determines your week. Ertz or Loveland? Okay. If I'm picking one, I'm picking Ertz. He's going to see target share in Washington. Loveland, I think, is in a time split with Cole Kmet. Me personally, I thought that was a terrible pick. Like a terrible pick. Like, why are we taking a tight end this early? Unless you think this guy's going to be Travis Kelce, which, by the way, he's not going to be Travis Kelce. That's crazy to me. Anyways, like, you had so many needs, Chicago, and yet you took another tight end. You spent free agent capital on Okay. I'm going down this rabbit hole for no reason. Anyways, whatever. It's all good. I actually liked what they did this offseason, but the draft pick of Loveland was horrendous in my opinion. Anyways, Thomas Leos, Dobbins or ETN full PPR. Let's go ETN. ETN time. I've been hyping this dude all offseason. If it's not ETN time, I'm going to be depressed. Ollie Hunonen. Wow, what a name, man. Again, name envy like a mug over here. You've got Barkley, RB1, worthy flex. You need RB2 to hit big. Trade it for Ginty. Man, you traded before the season started. I love you, dude. Like, I love that. You've got Barkley, RB1, and Worthy in the flex. You need RB2. Traded for Ginty, but should I start him over Connor week 1? Yeah. I mean, guys, Ginty was a top 12 pick for a reason in fantasy this year. What? Where was James Conner going? Imagine going into your draft and being like, should I take James Conner or Ashton Ginty? You know what I mean? Like, dang, we just had the draft, y'all. We just drafted. It's not like we're 5 weeks in and we have like a new data set to work with. No, of course we're playing Ginty. No question. Furman Sanchez, Jamison or Ibuka. Full PPR. Bro, I like Ibuka this week, Furman. Again, higher point total in that one. And I know that Detroit just gave him a brand new contract. I don't know if that means anything for fantasy. They're taking on Green Bay at Green Bay. Listen, if we're going to sit here and say, oh, well, you've got to fade Jared Goff on the road. You've got to fade Jared Goff in Lambeau, specifically Lambeau, right? Well, okay, if we're fading him, then we've got to lower the floor and lower the ceiling for some of these other players. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get even more work because they got to lean on him. I think Sam Laporte is going to get worked back in. And shoot, Isaac Tesla? What is going on with Isaac Tesla? Are they going to have some packages here for him as well? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say Emeka Ibuka. All right, struggling between Diggs and Tyrone. First of all, let me try to figure some stuff out. Okay. Struggling between Diggs and Tyrone, Tracy, in the flex. Who do you think? In my humble opinion, my kick is clean. What a handle. My kick is clean. Tyrone Tracy, I don't think there's any question in my mind. Way better floor, full PPR. Again, there might be chasing some points here, maybe some checkdowns. He could be a little bit of a PPR cheat code is Tyrone Tracy. All right. Let's see here. We got a couple minutes here. Do I got anything else in here, y'all? Can you do rapid fire next time? Games are about to start. Z. Hey, listen, I hear you, bro. Henry or Strange, standard. I am going to go Strange. I like the matchup over. This is not really that kind of stream, though, Z. I don't know. That's what I was told. You know what I mean? That's what I was told. And I think we got all the super chats out the way. Yeah, we did. All right, so we're good, bro. Okay, so yeah, I would listen. I could do rapid fire. I just don't think that's this kind of show. Pollard or Tracy? This is from Jordan R. Hart. I am going to go. Oh man, I'm gonna lean Tracy right here. I don't like the matchup against Pollard has against Denver. Tracy, I think, has a much softer matchup against Washington. Washington was terrible against the run last year. I'm going to lean Tracy right here. Robert Schwarzenberger, Achane, Eckler, Pollard, Breece Hall, pick 3, or Tracy. I'm going to go Breece Hall for sure, Achane for sure, and then I am going to actually lean on Pollard here just for the floor if I had to pick 3. No, excuse me. Oh, you have Tracy too? Yeah, give me Tracy. Achane, Breece Hall, Tracy. Those are your 3. Okay. Hey, listen, kickoff is about to start. As always, I wish I got to more questions, but sometimes, man, I got to, listen, I got to give some explanations on this stuff, man. So, yeah, for me, listen, we're going to be back next week. I will try to burn through more questions next week. But, again, this is not necessarily that kind of show, guys. We're trying to explain the why behind all this stuff. Jordan R. Hart, man, I appreciate you, brother. Z, hey, listen, Z, hey, shoot your shot, baby. You got to ask. It's all good. I get it. We could go rapid fire, maybe a little rapid fire for the last 10 minutes, something. I think that's a good compromise. Maybe that's what I'll do. Next week. All right. So here we go. All right, let's go. Anyways, I appreciate y'all. Kickoff is about to start. I hope you guys enjoy your week 1. I hope you guys score all the fantasy points, man. We'll see you. Peace.